Chapter 167. Bang! A violent shaking sound arrived. Ning Cheng could feel the ground under his feet trembling. This natural array formation seemed to have been destroyed, allowing his spiritual consciousness to suddenly penetrate through the underground rock temple. When he saw the scene, he was immediately shocked to the point that he could not speak a single word. War, this was a real war. Densely packed monstrous beasts and cultivators were fighting against each other. Ning Cheng immediately knew that the Yixing Ocean's war had once again broken out. Moreover, this time it had even reached the inner sea. Of the two sides fighting, one side was a combination of monstrous beasts and cultivators. These cultivators were wearing different robes compared to the cultivators from the Jia continent. They should be the cultivators from the Yixing Ocean. The other side was wearing the uniform of the Jia continent's cultivator army. The two sides were in a melee, and at every moment there were countless cultivators being killed. The cultivators with higher cultivations were controlling the airship-type artifacts to fight against the other side, while the cultivators with lower cultivations were fighting hand-to-hand on the battleships. Boom! After a terrible explosion, a blazing fire fell in the middle of the Jia continent's cultivator army, immediately causing a large number of the cultivator army to fall. Several cannonballs fell on the isolated island where Ning Cheng was located, causing some of the hanging stalagmites to crack and fall down. Ning Cheng then remembered his twin radiant heavenly cloud leaves. He quickly focused his attention on the twin radiant heavenly cloud leaves. When Ning Cheng saw the twin radiant heavenly cloud leaves that were emitting a faint golden glow, he was immediately overjoyed in his heart. He knew that the twin radiant heavenly cloud leaves had completely matured. At this time Ning Cheng was no longer in the mood to watch this tragic war. He first carefully collected the two twin radiant heavenly cloud leaves suspended above the pond. Then he used a large jade box to put the two twin radiant heavenly cloud leaves into the jade box. Only then did he feel relieved. A burst of rapid footsteps arrived. Ning Cheng knew that the two sides fighting had already reached the isolated island. The natural killing array that he was in was also completely destroyed. Although this natural killing array was powerful, but it could not compare to the powerful spirit stone cannonballs and the bombardment of the cultivators from the expert cultivators. The one who rushed in was a soldier wearing the Jia continent's cultivator army. He was covered in blood and was seriously injured, while two Yixing Ocean's cultivators were chasing after him. Ning Cheng immediately stepped forward to help the Jia continent's cultivator soldier, when the Yixing Ocean's cultivator suddenly raised his hand and shot out a red light. This Jia continent's cultivator soldier fell down a few meters away from the rocky temple and died on the spot. The two cultivators from the Yixing Ocean who were chasing after him also saw Ning Cheng, did not hesitate to rush in and continue to kill Ning Cheng. These were just two early-stage true condensation cultivators. As such, Ning Cheng simply raised his hands and blasted out two axe fists. These two Yixing Ocean's cultivators under Ning Cheng's axe fists did not even have the ability to fight back, and were immediately killed by Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng saw that there were more and more cultivators on both sides of the island. Moreover, there were also many essence-building cultivators fighting in the air. There were even cultivators above the essence-building realm. He knew that he had to join one of the sides, otherwise he would not even know what would happen if he was killed. With his fastest speed, Ning Cheng took off the Jia continent soldier's uniform and put it on his own body. Then, after burning the bodies of the two Yixing Ocean's cultivators, he dug a pit and buried the Jia continent's cultivator soldier. On the waist of the Jia continent soldier, he saw a dagger, and on the dagger was engraved the words Yicheng Battalion Zhulu. Ning Cheng did not touch the dagger, but rather buried the dagger together with the cultivator soldier. Regardless of whether these cultivator soldiers joined the army because of the cultivation resources, but without them, the monstrous beasts and the Yixing Ocean's cultivators would have already occupied the 9 continents. This was an indisputable fact. Towards these cultivator soldiers, Ning Cheng still admired them. Not to mention that he had already seen the tragic situation of the battle. In this kind of battle, the chances of them not dying were really not big. Seeing that more and more people were rushing towards him, Ning Cheng quickly rushed out of the rocky temple and turned around to send out a few more axe fists, completely burying the passage to the rocky temple. Only then did he carefully drill out from the rocky beach. With another punch, he smashed the rocky beach into slag. Outside, the sounds of countless magical weapons and spells exploding were even more clear. Mixed with the bombardment of the spirit stone cannons, it made Ningqing realize how tragic the battles between cultivators were. He had seen a lot of war movies, but compared to the bloody and terrifying scenes in front of him, these war movies simply could not be compared. Ningqing did not immediately go out. He did not belong to any side, although he was wearing the Jia Continent's cultivator army uniform, but no one could recognize who he was. Ningqing leaned against a concave boulder and looked at his own cultivator army uniform. On the left shoulder of the cultivator army uniform was an orange epaulet, with 2 stars on it, with the words Second Lieutenant Zhuo. Boom boom. Even more intense explosions sounded out. As some of the gravel fell on Ningqing's body, Ningqing found that the cultivator army on this island was getting more and more numerous. He swept out with his spiritual consciousness, and saw that this area of the sea was filled with scenes of battles, stretching for hundreds of miles. Ningqing was secretly startled in his heart. He guessed that this was a huge battle. He could not stay in this place, he had to leave immediately. Ningqing stood up and was ready to break out of the encirclement and find a safe place, when he found 2 cultivator soldiers fighting in this direction. These 2 were just chi-gathering cultivators. Ningqing took out a flying sword and raised his hand, directly cutting the Yixing Ocean's cultivator in half. The Jia Continent's cultivator soldier gratefully gave a salute to Ningqing and said, Fei Battalion's Yang Honghua thanks 2nd Lieutenant Zhuo for the rescue. Ningqing did not understand the etiquette of the cultivator army camp, and waved his hand and said, There is no need to be polite on the battlefield, we are all comrades. This Yang Honghua whom he had saved, had a red epaulet, moreover it was only a single star. He estimated that his rank was a level lower than his own. He wanted to ask this Yang Honghua, in the end what was going on, but he did not know how to ask without exposing himself. The Fei Battalion is almost completely annihilated. This Yang Honghua is willing to listen to 2nd Lieutenant Zhuo's commands. Seeing Ningqing not speak for a long time, the 1-star cultivator soldier spoke up again. Ningqing gave an N sound and said, Our Yixing battalion is also almost completely annihilated. This time we are really too passive. Ningqing was just guessing. He estimated that if the Jia Continent's cultivator army was not passive, they would not have casually attacked the Yixing Ocean's inner sea. Yang Honghua nodded in agreement and said, What 2nd Lieutenant Zhuo said is right. This time the Pubu Island was attacked. Our side suffered heavy casualties. It is even worse than the war 100 years ago. Originally it was a sneak attack. Ningqing looked at the Yixing Ocean's cultivator army and the monstrous beasts on the battlefield, and pondered for a moment and said, I believe that the Fu continent and the Central continent will send their armies to support us. Our top priority is to retreat first. Yang Honghua shook his head and said, 2nd Lieutenant Zhuo, I guess that no one will come to support us. This sneak attack was not only aimed at my Jia continent, the other continents should have also been attacked at the same time. Ningqing was surprised in his heart, simultaneously attacked? That would be terrible. He had to hurry back to the Hua continent. In case the Yixing Ocean's cultivators and monstrous beasts attacked the Hua continent, what would he do? The Jia continent's cultivator army was forced to come to Ningqing's island. As the monstrous beasts and the Yixing Ocean's cultivator army grew more and more, the Jia continent's cultivator army on the island became less and less. Yang Honghua did not know what Ningqing was thinking. At this moment his eyes were red with anxiety. When he first joined the cultivator army, it was indeed for the sake of cultivation. But after experiencing all these years, he had long since formed his own view of the cultivator army. At this time, seeing his companions being killed one after another, how could he bear it? However, the Jia continent's cultivator army was very disciplined. He had already said that he would listen to Ningqing's commands. Now that Ningqing did not speak, he also did not dare to rush out and kill. You follow behind me, Ningqing said as he also rushed out, while simultaneously bringing out his golden great axe. It was a pity that he did not have the long spear, otherwise at this time, he could have used the 36 profound ice spear technique, and would have definitely swept away a large number of people. Seeing Ningqing rush out, Yang Honghua quickly clenched his thick long knife and followed behind. Once Ningqing came out, he was immediately surrounded by many Yixing Ocean's cultivators and monstrous beasts. Ning Cheng immediately threw out his golden great axe, causing the sky to be filled with golden axe shadows. A tearing and twisting axe shadow suddenly appeared in the air. This twisting axe trace was getting clearer and clearer, and in the surroundings of this twisting axe trace, a dense number of tiny cracks began to appear. These fine lines instantly split open in the air. The golden axe shadows that filled the sky were the result of these cracks. This was Ning Cheng's angry axe's third form, axe line. After Ning Cheng had comprehended the axe line killing intent, this was the first time that he was able to display this move in the true sense of the word. Moreover, he was facing these cultivators whose cultivations were far inferior to him, as well as some low-leveled monstrous beasts. At this time, the cultivators and monstrous beasts that rushed up to the island were all low-leveled cultivators. The highest cultivation among them was not even at the essence-building realm. As for those with the cultivation of essence-building realm and above, all of them were fighting one-on-one in the air. None of them were willing to fight with these low-leveled cultivators. The axe line with a pale golden color split open in the air, as a strong killing intent blotted out the sky and swept down. Hundreds of Yixing Ocean's cultivator soldiers under this kind of terrifying axe line were instantly split open. These low-leveled cultivators under the axe line killing intent did not even have half a shred of power to resist. As soon as the axe line split open the sky, blood sprayed everywhere, as countless low-leveled cultivators and monstrous beasts fell down one after another. Ning Cheng was just like mowing grass, as he used his axe to completely kill all the Yixing Ocean's cultivators. Yang Honghua stared blankly at Ning Cheng's terrifying axe, and was not able to recover for a long time. What kind of second lieutenant was this? He had been in the cultivator army for several years. How come he had never heard of such a powerful second lieutenant? Just as he was still in a daze, Ning Cheng's voice arrived. Yang Honghua, you quickly collect the spoils of war, and also gather the scattered soldiers on our side. Yes, second lieutenant. Yang Honghua respectfully replied in a loud voice, as he hurriedly followed Ning Cheng's instructions. With Ning Cheng as the second lieutenant in front of him, he simply did not need to fight. Looking at the might of his own axe, Ning Cheng was secretly shocked in his heart. This axe line was simply too powerful. With this axe line as an example, Ning Cheng directly rushed towards the place where the Yixing Ocean's cultivators were gathered, while at the same time constantly chopping out with his golden axe line. Ning Cheng used his golden axe line to kill his way through, as he quickly formed a pale golden trace behind him. Chapter 168. In the end, the golden axe shadow had already turned into a solid substance, as Ning Cheng was completely surrounded by a dense, twisting axe line. These axe lines were extremely thin, but were filled with a strong killing intent. If a low-level cultivator were to come into contact with it, or even within the range of the killing intent, they would immediately be killed. Ning Cheng was already immersed in the splashing of the axe line. It was as if he was doing a splash ink painting, as he constantly splashed out ink. Originally, it was the third form of the angry axe that consumed the most energy, but at this time when Ning Cheng cast it, the consumption of his true essence and spiritual consciousness was reduced to the minimum. The island was not that big. As Ning Cheng was killing his way through, it quickly attracted the attention of all the people. Some of the Jia continent's cultivator soldiers quickly retreated to the side, and followed closely behind Ning Cheng. At this time, Yang Honghua had already gathered thousands of cultivator soldiers, and this number was still constantly rising. Initially, the Yixing Ocean's cultivator soldiers and monstrous beasts rushed up to surround Ning Cheng. In the end, he discovered that Ning City could not be surrounded at all. However many of them died, he instantly retreated in defeat. Regardless of whether the army was composed of cultivators or not, a defeated army was like a landslide. This sentence was the same for any army. As soon as the Yixing Ocean's cultivator soldiers retreated, the Jia continent's cultivator soldiers immediately stabilized their position, and with the help of Ning Cheng, they immediately started to fight back. The Yixing Ocean's cultivators on the warships immediately rushed onto the small island. These cultivators collided with the cultivators driven away by Ning Cheng, causing the situation to turn even more chaotic. The Jia continent's cultivators, under the leadership of Ning Cheng, took advantage of the situation to occupy the island and then counterattacked. In just a short period of time, the entire island was covered in blood mist. The island was the only piece of land in the vicinity. Whoever occupied it would, of course, have a greater advantage. Now that the Jia continent's cultivator soldiers had occupied the island, moreover they were using an absolutely crushing imposing manner to suppress the Yixing Ocean's cultivators to the point that they were unable to breathe, it immediately attracted the attention of some of the essence-building cultivators. The two Yixing Ocean's essence-building cultivators immediately gave up on their opponents and directly rushed towards Ningqing, while simultaneously using their magic weapons in their hands to bombard Ningqing. If it was a profound congealing cultivator, Ningqing would have chosen to hide or escape. Facing two essence-building cultivators, moreover they were intermediate-stage essence-building cultivators, Ningqing simply did not have even half a shred of awareness of retreating. The golden great axe in his hands directly drew a semicircle in the air as it rumbled towards the two essence-building cultivators. This axe trace was different from the countless cracks that it had formed before, but this time Ningqing's axe trace was a tragic and unstoppable golden axe line. This was a perfectly straight golden axe line, as if it wanted to break apart the blue dome of heaven in front of it, bringing with it a desolate autumn wind sweeping away the fallen leaves. The two essence-building cultivators, in addition to using their attack-type magical weapons, simultaneously also brought out their round shield-type magical weapons. They had seen from a distance that Ningqing's distorted axe trace was terrifying, so they had already brought out their shields to block this kind of terrifying distorted axe trace. But he did not think that Ningqing would suddenly change his move, and this time used the angry axe, the first trace. Ka-ka. The formidable golden axe line directly blew away a steel fork and a copper hammer, and then collided with two round shields. The two intermediate-stage essence-building cultivators crazily spurted out a mouthful of blood as they were sent flying like cannonballs. These two essence-building cultivators were scared out of their wits. If they had not prepared a round shield in advance, then the two of them would have already been killed. But these two Yixing Ocean's essence-building cultivators had just flown half the distance. When the two Jia continent's essence-building cultivators rushed over from behind, the two of them simply did not have even half a shred of resistance before they were split into two halves. These two Jia continent's essence-building cultivators were even stunned for a moment. The two Yixing Ocean's essence-building cultivators that they had beheaded had fought with them for a long time. As such, they knew that these two people were very powerful, but Ningqing seemed to have almost killed these two people with just a single move. Just what kind of cultivation was this? "Are you a 2-star second lieutenant?" one of the essence-building cultivators asked as he looked at Ningqing's epaulets in disbelief. Ningqing glanced at the epaulets of the two people. One of them was called Si Yongchun, and was already a 3-star senior captain. The other one was called Xian Feihong, and was a 4-star junior marquis. Ningqing did not pay any attention to the two people's ranks that were higher than his, but his face sank and said, "What kind of time is it now, and yet you still pay attention to these unimportant things?" Si Yongchun, you and Xian Feihong immediately gather all the scattered soldiers on this island, and then at the same time, we will launch a counterattack together. Yes. The two people quickly complied, as they turned around and went with Yang Honghua to gather the remaining soldiers. Although they were in the Jia continent's cultivator army, but at the same time they were also cultivators, moreover they were also cultivators, moreover they were cultivators, and then they were cultivators in the cultivator army. Ningqing's cultivation was obviously far superior to them, even if they had doubts in their hearts. At this time they could only obey the strong. Ningqing saw that the two essence-building cultivators listened to his words, and went to gather the scattered soldiers, and was just about to breathe a sigh of relief, when he saw a black line rushing towards him. Profound congealing cultivator. Ningqing looked at the imposing manner of this cultivator, and immediately knew that he was a profound congealing cultivator. Die for me. This profound congealing cultivator was standing on top of a black warship, and was extremely fast and flexible. He had not yet arrived in front of Ningqing, when he immediately brought out a red cloud-like flag. The red cloud flag was covered with a blazing red light that completely wrapped around Ningqing. Only Ningqing, who was inside it, knew that he was completely bound by this red cloud. This red cloud flag was definitely a fire-attributed spiritual artifact. As such, he could only let it burn him. Unfortunately, the opposite party did not know that he had a Star River seed. Any kind of blazing flame that touched the surface of Ning Cheng's body would be swallowed up by the Star River seed. So Ning Cheng did not have much fear in his heart. Originally, Ning Cheng still had some fear towards this profound congealing cultivator, but now this fear had completely disappeared. Even a profound congealing cultivator was only SOSO. At this time he could easily split open this red cloud flag with his axe. He was glad that he had advanced to the essence building 4th level. If he was still at the essence building 1st level, then this red cloud flag would suddenly sweep over him. Even if he had the help of the Star River seed, he would only be able to find a way to retreat. Ning Cheng could break open the red cloud flag, but he did not do so. Not only did he not do so, but instead rushed towards this profound congealing cultivator. The red cloud flag was covered with a thick flame like red clouds, and under the coordination of Ning Cheng, completely engulfed Ning Cheng. This profound congealing cultivator sneered, a trivial intermediate stage essence building cultivator, and also dared to kill the cultivators of the Yixing Ocean? This profound congealing cultivator soon felt that something was wrong. Although his red cloud flag had brought out a lot of red clouds, but after it swept over Ning Cheng's body, it quickly dissipated without a trace. Not waiting for this profound congealing cultivator to figure out what was going on, Ning Cheng's golden great axe had already blasted out. A golden killing intent vortex like a tornado was blasted out by Ning Cheng's great axe. This great axe directly broke through the red cloud flag of the profound congealing cultivator, causing the surrounding killing intent to explode towards this profound congealing cultivator. This profound congealing cultivator no longer cared about why Ning Cheng was safe and sound under his red cloud flag. As he waved the red cloud flag in his hands outwards, countless red clouds and Ning Cheng's golden whirlpool of axe-killing intent rolled up together. Pa 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 pa, sounds of explosions rang out incessantly. This scorching red clouds could not do anything to Ning Cheng, and similarly could not do anything to Ning Cheng's angry axe's 2nd form tornado. After the fierce impact, this profound congealing cultivator was horrified to find that his true essence was unexpectedly somewhat lacking. That seemingly inexhaustible red clouds rolled up onto Ning Cheng's body, just like mud falling into the sea. It completely disappeared. When his red cloud flag was once again blocked by the golden great axe, this profound congealing cultivator immediately felt a burst of exhaustion. But at this time Ning Cheng's golden great axe did not even have the slightest delay. Even the vortex of axe-killing intent was not completely blocked by him. Not good. This person was definitely a profound congealing cultivator, but he was concealing his cultivation. After this profound congealing cultivator determined that Ning Cheng was concealing his cultivation, his courage immediately turned cold, and he no longer dared to tangle with Ning Cheng. The red cloud flag in his hands suddenly erupted with an imposing aura, and in just a short breath of time, this red cloud flag immediately exploded with a bang. He wanted to use such a move to escape, but at this time Ning Cheng's angry axe's 2nd form tornado also completely gathered the surrounding killing force, causing it to explode. Boom boom boom. The two powerful true essence killing forces collided with each other, causing a terrible explosion sound to ring out. Ning Cheng was shocked by this terrifying true essence backlash and was forced to retreat a few steps, as he almost spat out a mouthful of blood. But he immediately saw that the profound congealing cultivator was not much better off than him. At this time the other party was panicking like a stray dog, and was rapidly retreating. Even the black warship that had landed on the island did not care about it at all. How could Ning Cheng let the other party escape? As he once again rushed forward, the golden great axe in his hands once again brought out a tearing axe trace. You can't kill me, I am Yixing Ocean's Mu. This profound congealing cultivator guessed that Ning Cheng was also a profound congealing cultivator, moreover was not afraid of his red cloud flag, causing him to feel a chill down his spine. Now he only wanted to escape. Where would he find the courage to continue fighting with Ning Cheng? Ning Cheng saw that this profound congealing cultivator was already terrified, and did not dare to fight with him, causing him to feel relieved in his heart. Although he was not afraid of this person, but if the other party really went all out, then even if he won, it would be a very miserable victory. Now that the other party was terrified, why would he still hold back? "I can't kill you," Ning Cheng said, as the golden great axe in his hands stimulated the killing intent of the golden great axe. This profound congealing cultivator did not even have time to breathe a sigh of relief when he saw the tearing golden great axe trace cut through the distance between him and Ning Cheng as it swept past his waist. At this time, he heard Ning Cheng's last two words, "That would be strange." After killing this profound congealing cultivator, Ning Cheng's heroic spirit immediately rose. This was the first time that he had killed a profound congealing cultivator in a direct confrontation, although his Star River technique was able to restrain the other party's red cloud flag, but Ning Cheng's confidence in his heart still greatly increased. Being able to kill an early-stage profound congealing cultivator in the essence-building realm, there were definitely not many people in this world. After Ning Cheng killed this profound congealing cultivator, he immediately rushed towards him and took away his ring. He could feel that this profound congealing cultivator was not simple, moreover the warship that he was riding on was also not simple. This was the fastest warship that Ning Cheng had seen so far, moreover this warship was exactly what he needed right now. After putting away the ring, Ning Cheng immediately came to the side of the warship. He wanted to take this warship as his own. Ning Cheng had encountered a profound congealing cultivator, but the life and death battle between the two profound congealing cultivators had only lasted for a few dozen breaths. In this short period of time, the cultivators from the Yixing Ocean and the cultivators from the Jia continent forgot about their entanglement as they stared at the battle between the two of them. Chapter 169. When all the people saw that the profound congealing cultivator was killed by Ning Cheng, they immediately fell into chaos. The Yixing Ocean's cultivators were in a mess. The two essence-building cultivators who were worried about Ning Cheng immediately knew that this was a great opportunity and quickly gathered the scattered soldiers and took advantage of the situation to attack. At this moment they did not care about Ning Cheng's cultivation. This battlefield was just a corner of the entire battlefield. The profound congealing cultivators were the highest cultivators here. They did not think that a profound congealing cultivator would fall on this small island. Ning Cheng also did not care about anything else. He wanted to seize the time to refine this black warship. He felt that this warship could take him back to the Hua continent. But Ning Cheng was soon disappointed. He found that this warship was not a magical weapon, and he had no way to refine it. This warship was 34 meters long and was about 7 or 8 meters wide. If he could not refine such a big guy, then how could he drive it? Although the ring that he obtained in the Angry Axe Valley could accommodate this big guy, but it was still inconvenient. Ning Cheng frowned. He looked up and saw that Yang Honghua was still standing at his side, and immediately asked, "Why didn't you charge?" Yang Honghua quickly replied, "Second Lieutenant Zhua, I have always operated a warship in the Jia continent's army. The warship that you obtained is the Yixing Ocean's top-grade black-silver warship. It is extremely fast and incomparably hard. If Second Lieutenant Zhuo wants to use this warship to attack the enemy camp, then I am willing to operate the ship for the Second Lieutenant." Ning Cheng was moved in his heart. "Do you know a lot about the Cultivator Army's warships?" Yang Honghua nodded and spoke. "Yes, I originally operated a warship. The Yifei Battalion is also a cultivator army that fights in the air. Later the warship was hit by the Yixing Ocean's spirit stone cannons, and was scattered on this small island, so I decided to fight on the ground." "Very good. I do not know much about warships. You can tell me what you know." Ning Cheng did not care about what his words would reveal. He was eager to return to the Hua continent. Although Yang Honghua had some doubts, but he still spoke in detail. In the cultivator army, whether it is the Yixing Ocean's cultivator army or the 9 continents cultivator army, warships are indispensable. A flying warship and a flight-type magical weapon have a difference. A flying warship is strong and flexible, but it cannot be refined and can only be used for combat. Moreover, the warship needs spirit stones to be driven, so it can't be driven with spiritual sense or true essence. Ning Cheng nodded and spoke. "That's right, but you are wrong about one thing. Flying battleships are not only used for combat, but can also be used for travel. Yang Honghua quickly replied, yes. In his heart, however, he did not think much of it. The flying warship required a frightening amount of spirit stones to operate. Who would use such a warship to travel? Unless there was something wrong with their brain, or they had too many spirit stones to use up. You're not bad. How about this? You help me control the warship first, and we'll go and kill some more. Ning Cheng saw that although the cultivator army led by Si Yongchun and Xian Feihong had the upper hand, but because of the small number of people, there was a possibility that they would collapse if they dragged on for too long. As such, he decided to help them a little before he left. Yes, Second Lieutenant. Yang Honghua happily jumped onto the warship. He waited for Ning Cheng to board the ship and then said, Second Lieutenant, I'm going to drive the ship and rush over. It's a pity that we don't have spirit stones. If we had spirit stones, we could have spirit stone cannons on this ship. We could have fired a few cannons at them. Spirit stone cannons? Ning Cheng immediately asked. Yang Honghua quickly replied, yes, this spirit stone cannon costs 1,000 high-grade spirit stones to fire, it's just too expensive. Ning Cheng threw a storage bag towards Yang Honghua and said, you just fire the cannons, you don't have to worry about the spirit stones. Yang Honghua picked up the storage bag and swept it with his spiritual sense and was immediately shocked. This 100,000 high-grade spirit stones. Wasn't the second lieutenant Shua just too rich? 100,000 high-grade spirit stones. Just how many cannons would he need to fire? Even the entire Yifei battalion was not this rich. Hurry up, my time is very tight. Ning Cheng landed at the front of the black warship and called out to Yang Honghua. Yang Honghua was pleasantly surprised as he inserted the spirit stones into the groove and started the black warship. Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness had been observing Yang Honghua's movements, and when he saw Yang Honghua skillfully operating the ship, he immediately knew that Yang Honghua was not bragging, he really had a way of operating the ship. However, Ning Cheng was able to quickly learn it. Moreover, Ning Cheng was also able to see a detailed nautical chart in the control room of the warship. The black warship rushed out in a black line. Almost at the same time that the black warship rose into the air, Ning Cheng felt the warship under his feet shake. A bright white light shot out from one side of the warship. Ning Cheng knew that this was Yang Honghua firing the cannons. Boom, boom, boom. Several cannons were fired one after another, causing violent spiritual energy fluctuations to burst out. These spiritual energy fluctuations were not the gentle kind of spiritual qi, rather it was the explosive energy from the spirit stones. The Yixing Ocean's cultivator army that had gathered together were instantly stunned by the dense spirit stone cannons, as they were overturned in large numbers. It was just like when the Yixing Ocean's cultivators had used the spirit stone cannons to bombard the Jia continent's cultivators. The Yixing Ocean's cultivators were simply unable to block the terrifying spirit stone cannons. Ning Cheng could feel the constant tremors under his feet, and was secretly worried in his heart. This Yang Honghua's continuous bombardment of the cannons would not cause the warship to fall apart, right? He was not even the least bit distressed about the spirit stones. If this awesome warship fell apart, then how would he be able to return to the Hua continent? After firing a few more cannons, Ning Cheng felt that his worries were unnecessary. Although the black warship was constantly shaking, but it did not show any signs of falling apart. Ning Cheng felt relieved in his heart. When he saw the Yixing Ocean's cultivators in a mess, he directly said, Yang Honghua, take our warship and rush over. I want to use my axe to chop down a few times. Yes, Second Lieutenant Zhua. Yang Honghua, who was happily fighting, quickly controlled the warship to rush over, but he was still annoyed in his heart. He had already enjoyed himself, but the second lieutenant had not even started. The might of this second lieutenant was golden axe line. He was very clear about it. As the warship rushed into the middle of the Yixing Ocean's dense flying warships, Ning Cheng did not even have the slightest scruple as he blasted out with his golden axe line. Numerous Yixing Ocean's low-leveled cultivators and their flying warships, under the powerful killing intent of Ning Cheng's axe line, were like dumplings falling into the sea. When Xian Feihong saw Ning Cheng and Yang Honghua rush over and instantly took control of the situation, he was overjoyed in his heart and immediately organized the Jia continent's cultivator soldiers on the island to snatch the warships and besieged the Yixing Ocean's cultivators. In terms of numbers, the Jia continent's cultivator army was definitely not as many as the Yixing Ocean's cultivator army. Because Ning Cheng had beheaded a profound congealing cultivator and also killed 2 essence-building cultivators, the scene was instantly controlled by the Jia continent's cultivator army. Under this situation, the Jia continent's cultivator army quickly took control of the situation. Under the control of the remaining profound congealing cultivator, the Yixing Ocean's cultivators barely began to retreat. That profound congealing cultivator did not dare to fight with Ning Cheng. He was afraid that the Yixing Ocean's cultivator army would be completely annihilated. As for those low-leveled monstrous beasts, they could not even retreat, as many of the monstrous beasts that came to participate in the battle were still in a state of obedience to orders. Once they lost the cultivators who gave them orders, these monstrous beasts were completely thrown into chaos. Although Ning Cheng and his warship were incomparably fierce, but the number of Yixing Ocean's cultivator army was simply too many. With the retreat of these cultivators, the Jia continent's cultivator army could only encircle and kill some of them who did not have enough time to escape. Wanting to completely annihilate the other side, it was simply impossible. Yang Honghua, aim the cannons at those warships that are about to leave. Do not be stingy with the spirit stones. Ning Cheng found that the Jia continent's cultivator army had fewer warships, while the Yixing Ocean's warships were more numerous. These Yixing Ocean's cultivators who wanted to retreat also wanted to take the warships with them. Ning Cheng did not hesitate to let Yang Honghua fire the cannons. At the same time, he also gave up on those cultivators who wanted to escape, and specifically targeted the Yixing Ocean's cultivators on the warships. These cultivators who were ready to escape soon understood Ning Cheng's intentions, and some of the cultivators in a panic quickly abandoned their warships. The Jia continent's cultivators also understood Ning Cheng's intentions, and immediately took control of the warships. As long as they took control of the warships, then the Yixing Ocean's cultivators who were trying to escape would not be able to go far. For hours later, the situation on this battlefield had completely stabilized. The warships were now under the control of the Jia continent's cultivator army, but most of these warships were still in a damaged state and could not immediately participate in the battle, which allowed many of the Yixing Ocean's cultivators to escape. Si Yongchun and Xian Feihong, the 2 essence-building cultivators, understood Ning Cheng's intentions and knew that it was absolutely impossible for the Jia continent's cultivator army to completely annihilate the Yixing Ocean's cultivators. For them to be able to fight until this point, it was already considered to be extremely lucky. The 2 essence-building cultivators did not have the time to greet Ning Cheng, as they quickly gathered the rest of the essence-building cultivators and reorganized the Jia continent's cultivator army and then repaired the warships. Second Lieutenant Zhua, my Yifei battalion has been completely annihilated. I would like to request to join the Yicheng battalion and become the second lieutenant's personal guard. Yang Honghua came out of the control room of the warship and spoke in an excited tone. He had never fought such a happy battle before. This was simply like pulling dry weeds and smashing rotten wood. This second lieutenant Zhua's golden axe was simply invincible. All the cultivators who wanted to get close to the warship were all killed by his golden axe. Ning Cheng waved his hand and spoke. Yang Honghua, this battlefield should not have any powerhouses. If a master came, then as long as a late-stage profound congealing cultivator or even a profound core cultivator, then we would not be so relaxed. We might not even be able to escape. I heard that in the Lu continent's Yixing Ocean's battlefield, there are even crucible transformation cultivators. Once we meet such a master, then we would only be cannon fodder. Ning Cheng was very calm. He could see that in this place, early-stage profound congealing cultivators were already considered to be top-level existences, but in the entire Yixing Ocean's battlefield, it was impossible for there to be only profound congealing cultivators. There would definitely be other powerful masters. It was just that these masters were currently too busy to deal with them. Once those masters came, even if his angry axe-killing intent was powerful, it would simply be like floating clouds. Yang Honghua was just about to speak when an incomparably tyrannical spiritual consciousness swept over. At the same time, an angry voice arrived. "Kid, I will skin you alive." When Ning Cheng heard this voice, he immediately shuddered. This voice was definitely coming from a very far place, but he could actually feel his spiritual soul trembling. This was definitely a soul essence realm expert, not to mention a soul essence realm expert, even if it was a profound core realm expert, or even a late-stage profound congealing cultivator. Ning Qing would not be their opponent. In the face of a departed spirit realm expert, how could he still be alive? Hurry up and leave. Ning Qing had just thought of this, when an extremely terrifying sword shadow came chopping down, but Ning Qing had not even seen the shadow of the opposite party. Chapter 170. Quickly escape. Ning Qing only had enough time to call out to Yang Honghua, as he crazily gathered all of his true essence and chopped out with his golden great axe. The opposite party had only brought out a sword shadow from a distance. If it was a real sword light, then Ning Qing would not even try to resist it, as he was sure that he would not be able to block it. This was a sword shadow brought out by his spiritual consciousness. Ning Qing felt that if he used all of his strength, he should be able to block it. As long as Yang Honghua could understand his intentions in time, and quickly start the worship, he would still have a glimmer of hope to escape. Ning Qing even made a plan. If Yang Honghua could not start the worship in time, or if his golden great axe could not block the opposite party's sword shadow, then he would immediately jump into the Yixing Ocean, and then find a way to escape into the mysterious yellow bead. At this time, Ning Qing felt that it was a pity for the blood-escaping talisman. He did not know how many times he had cursed it in his heart, but no matter how many times he cursed it, the blood-escaping talisman could not be changed back. Yang Honghua's experience on the battlefield was much richer than Ning Qing's. As soon as he saw the situation, he knew that he would not be able to help. The only thing he could do was to control the warship to escape. Therefore, even without Ning Qing's reminder, Yang Honghua once again rushed into the control room of the warship and quickly started the warship. Boom! The sword shadow from a distance and Ning Qing's golden great axe collided with each other. The resulting explosion of true essence directly sent Yang Honghua's warship flying out. The violent true essence fluctuations caused the seawater below to form a whirlpool with a radius of several feet. Some of the cultivators who were still struggling in the sea were directly swept away by this powerful whirlpool, disappearing without a trace. Ning Qing felt as if a 10,000 gene hammer had smashed into his chest. This kind of terrible and powerful force was something that he was completely unable to bear. The next moment, Ning Qing was like a cannonball as he was blown away. His hope of using the warship to escape fell through. While still in the air, Ning Qing spurted out a few mouthfuls of blood, as his meridians felt a burst of burning pain. However, as he was blown away, and out of the range of the imposing aura of the sword shadow, his tough and thick meridians did not break. But Ning Qing's heart was not happy. This was just a random sword shadow from the opposite party. Once the opposite party came face to face with him, how could he have a chance to survive? The warship controlled by Yang Honghua, because Ning Qing had completely blocked the might of the sword shadow, was only sent flying by the powerful true essence shockwave, while the warship and Yang Honghua himself did not receive any injuries. Yang Honghua quickly stabilized the warship once again. He unexpectedly did not control the warship to escape, rather he controlled the warship to rush towards Ning Qing, apparently wanting to take Ning Qing away with him. Hey, just a trivial essence-building cultivator, and yet can block my spiritual consciousness sword shadow? Then take another strike from me. As the voice faded, a tall man with thin eyes appeared in the sky above the sea. Ning Qing's heart sank. Just a moment ago the opposite party had sent out a sword shadow from a distance, and it had almost killed him. Now that this person had already arrived in front of him, how could he escape? Moreover, when he saw this person, he knew that his guess was not wrong. This person was definitely an essence soul realm cultivator. Moreover, he was a late-stage essence soul realm cultivator. Ha Walun, you are just a late-stage soul essence cultivator, yet you actually want to bully a cultivator in the essence-building realm. Do you still have any face? This father will accompany you to continue playing. Another voice arrived, and along with this voice came a blade light that looked just like a waterfall. Kong Peng Peng, today I will kill you first, and then completely exterminate these ants, and take revenge for Tu Yun. This tall man in the face of this blade light had no choice but to give up on the idea of killing Ning Qing. as he turned around to fight with the person who had just arrived. Ning Cheng felt relieved as he landed on the warship that Yang Honghua had brought over, and spoke to Yang Honghua. "Thank you, you actually could have left first." Yang Honghua immediately stood up and spoke, "Not to mention that my life was saved by Second Lieutenant Zhua. Even if I became the second lieutenant's personal guard, I would not be able to escape first." Ning Cheng nodded, and did not speak again, as he sat down on the deck of the warship to heal himself. He had just advanced to the Essence Building 4th level, and had only managed to kill an early-stage profound congealing cultivator. This kind of complacency had not even warmed up, when he was almost killed by a spiritual consciousness sword from a very far distance. His strength was simply too low. Fortunately, Ning Cheng's injuries were not that heavy, moreover because that soul essence cultivator was too far away, that sword shadow was basically blocked by Ning Cheng's golden axe trace. After the time it takes for half an incense stick to burn, Ning Cheng finally stood up. At this time he was shocked to discover that the battle between these two soul essence cultivators was not something that an ordinary person could intervene in. In the radius of more than 100 feet where the two of them were fighting, there was a violent surge of true essence. In this radius of 100 feet, there were no longer any cultivators or warships. He did not know if they had retreated in time, or if they had been destroyed by the battle between the two of them. The seawater in the vicinity of the battle between the two of them had turned into a tumbling whirlpool of roaring waves. Even the nearest spectators were forced to retreat a few thousand meters away. Ning Cheng finally came to understand. No wonder that the highest cultivation level of the cultivators fighting here was only at the profound congealing realm. As long as there was a high-level cultivator fighting, then the battlefield would be reserved for the high-level cultivators. These two cultivators were obviously at the late stages of the soul essence realm. The tall and thin-eyed man who was attacking Ning Cheng was using a long sword as his magical weapon, while his opponent was a short man who was not very tall, but the magical weapon used by this man was an incomparably wide blade. The appearance of the two people and their magical weapons were completely incompatible, but the strength of the two people could be seen at a glance through the fierce battle. The blade light and the sword light collided together. Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness could only see a powerful true essence explosion. He was completely unable to see the positions and movements of the two people. After the time it takes for half an incense stick to burn, the tall man angrily rushed out of the range of the blade light and the sword light, as he coldly stared at Ning Cheng and spoke, "Kid, you killed Shintu Yun. Sooner or later your head will be sent to the Yixing Ocean." Saying that, he looked at the short man who was fighting him and gave a cold snort. "Kong Peng Peng, I will give you some time to be proud of yourself. Wait for this father to advance to the soul sculpting realm. At that time let's see what you can do to me." After saying this sentence, his figure flashed a few times, and disappeared in a twinkling of an eye. "Defeated opponent, you are the only one who can advance to the soul sculpting realm. Is this Grandpa Kong not going to move?" But the short male cultivator did not chase after the other party, but rather landed at the front of Ning Cheng's warship. Yang Honghua's actions were even faster than Ning Cheng's, as he quickly stepped forward and gave a military salute and spoke, "E Fei Battalion's Yang Honghua greets General Kong." Ning Cheng, on seeing this, also quickly imitated Yang Honghua's actions and spoke, "Yiqing Battalion's Zhua E greets General Kong." At the same time, Ning Cheng was able to clearly see the shoulder card of the man in front of him. It was a blue-colored 6 stars, with the words General Kong Peng Peng written on it. "Are you a 2-star second lieutenant? When I was fighting with that small-eyed man, I saw you kill a profound congealing cultivator with my spiritual consciousness. Wasn't the warship you were standing on was also snatched from the hands of that profound congealing cultivator? With your ability, you should at least be a 3-star senior captain. How is it possible that you are still a second lieutenant?" Kong Peng Peng stared at Ning Cheng and asked in a puzzled manner. Ning Cheng felt a chill run down his spine. He had never thought that his actions of killing the enemy would be seen by someone else. No wonder that person called Hua Luan wanted to kill him. It turned out that he had come here specifically for him. But his spiritual consciousness was not even half a bit aware of it. Ning Cheng quickly put aside these thoughts. He was not aware of it not because his vigilance was low, but because he was facing so many Yixing Ocean's cultivator army. He simply could not take care of anything else. To put it bluntly, it was because his cultivation was too low. This Kong Peng Peng in front of him obviously found that his identity did not match up. If he continued to lie, then once he was found out, then it would only be a dead end for him. He quickly cupped his fists and spoke in a respectful manner. I do not dare to conceal anything from Senior Kong. This junior had come here following a merchant ship. Originally I was going to the Pubu Island to join the army. But I did not expect that the merchant ship would suddenly be swept away by the battle near this island. As such, this junior had no choice but to come to this island. Because I do not have the identity of a cultivator soldier from the Jia continent, I did not dare to participate in the battle. Afterward, Zhuo Yi died in battle. I borrowed 2nd Lieutenant Zhuo Yi's uniform to wear and helped the Jia continent's cultivator army in the battle. Ning Cheng's words were not spoken with the tone of a cultivator from the cultivator army, but rather with the identity of an ordinary cultivator. Otherwise, he would not have called himself a junior. If this Kong Peng Peng really wanted to take him down, then he would not be able to resist. Kong Peng Peng did not know if he believed Ning Cheng's words or not, but just nodded and said, "You are very good. Relying on your own strength, you were able to reverse the situation of the battle. Moreover, relying on your axe intent, you were able to kill a profound congealing cultivator. Your golden axe shadow should have been comprehended from the angry axe valley, right?" Ning Cheng quickly spoke. "Yes, my magical weapon just happened to restrain that person's red cloud flag, so I won by a fluke. If the other party had not escaped, then I would not have won." Listening to this Kong Peng Peng's tone, didn't he think that he would not do anything to him? He was afraid that Kong Peng Peng would catch him, an essence-building cultivator, and ask him to kill a profound congealing cultivator, so he quickly explained. "Do you still want to join the cultivator army?" Kong Peng Peng looked at Ning Cheng with a very appreciative gaze. He had clearly seen Ning Cheng's performance a moment ago. He did not know if he had not thought about it, or if he really thought that Ning Cheng's axe intent was indeed able to kill a profound congealing cultivator, but he did not ask about the things that Ning Cheng was worried about. "I still want to join the Jia continent's cultivator army," Ning Cheng said without hesitation. No matter what Kong Peng Peng thought, he knew that joining the cultivator army was definitely not wrong. Kong Peng Peng nodded. "Do you want to join the cultivator army to cultivate? To get more cultivation resources?" "I am a rogue cultivator. Without any cultivation resources, it would be very difficult for me to progress. It was because I had a few opportunities that I was able to advance to the essence-building realm. After all, opportunities do not come by often. My spiritual root qualifications are not outstanding. If I want to advance to a higher level, then I can only join the cultivator army." Ning Cheng honestly replied. He knew that at this time he could not be realistic. Moreover, this reason was also a completely reasonable one. Kong Peng Peng gave an "n" sound and pondered for a moment before saying, "The Yicheng battalion has already been destroyed. Since you want to continue to join the cultivator army, then how about joining my Yizheng battalion? Working under my command, you will definitely be happy." Ning Cheng hurriedly spoke with excitement. "I am willing to join the Yizheng battalion and bring glory to the Yizheng battalion." Kong Peng Peng was very satisfied. He did not doubt Ning Cheng's words. Ning Cheng's previous performance had already explained everything and then said, "If you join the Yizheng battalion with your original identity, then at this time of emergency, you will not be able to be promoted to an officer. You can temporarily join my Yizheng battalion with the identity of Zhuo Yi. After the war is over, I will help you change it back. Wait, let me see what kind of title I should give you." Chapter 171. Senior, because I have a family in the Hua continent, I estimate that the Yixing Ocean's military disaster will affect the Hua continent. I ask Senior to allow me to go and support the Hua continent. When Ning Cheng heard that Kong Peng Peng wanted to promote him, he quickly spoke out the words that he wanted to say the most. "Do you want to go to the Hua continent?" Kong Peng Peng stared at Ning Cheng and specifically asked. Ning Cheng felt that there was nothing wrong with his words and immediately spoke with certainty. "Yes, this junior's wife is in the Hua continent, so I am very worried." At this time, some essence-building cultivators and a profound congealing cultivator came to greet him. Kong Peng Peng let them first clean up the mess on the battlefield, and then deliberately sat down in front of Ning Cheng's warship. while motioning Ning Cheng to also sit down, and then said, later on in the cultivator barracks, "Do not call me senior, this habit must be changed, directly call me commander is good." Yes, General Kong. Ning Cheng really did not call him commander, since the others called him general, then the title of general sounded better. Kong Peng Peng nodded and said, "If you go to the Hua continent now, I guess it would not be of any use." Why? Ning Cheng was surprised for a moment. He completely forgot that the person in front of him was a person with a higher cultivation level than him. Kong Peng Peng sighed and said, "This time the Yixing Ocean's cultivators' sneak attack was an all-out attack. The 9 continents army even had to abandon the Jia continent, not to mention the Hua continent. So I guess that even if the Hua continent did not fall, it would still be in imminent danger. Even if you use this captured top-quality black-silver warship, it would still take you nearly half a month. In terms of time, you simply do not have enough time." Ning Cheng suddenly stood up. While simultaneously clenching his fists, he felt his whole body trembling. If the Hua continent fell, then what about Luo Fei? Where would Luo Fei go? Kong Peng Peng patted Ning Cheng's shoulder, motioning Ning Cheng to sit down again and said, "A man does not need to worry about not having a wife, although the Yixing Ocean's cultivators are temporarily in the lead, but they will soon compromise." Ning Cheng's heart was in chaos. He bowed and said, "General Kong, I must go to the Hua continent, otherwise I will not be able to feel at ease." This time Kong Peng Peng did not continue to persuade Ning Cheng. He pondered for a moment and said, "I appreciate you very much. I believe that you will be able to do great things in my Yixing battalion. Since you want to go, then it is up to you, but since you are my people, there are some things that I must tell you." Ning Cheng forced himself to calm down. "General, please speak." Kong Peng Peng said, "Do you know the reason why the Yixing Ocean's cultivators decided to attack my 9 continents regardless of the casualties?" Ning Cheng shook his head in a daze. How would he know about this matter? As if he knew that Ning Cheng was not clear about it, Kong Peng Peng did not wait for Ning Cheng to answer, and continued, "A lot of people who are not part of the cultivator army do not know that the Yixing mainland actually has 10 continents. He had heard Song Shua say that there was a 10th continent outside of the Yixing Ocean. The 10th continent was the true cultivation land. It even contained existences that surpassed the crucible transformation realm. For Ning Cheng to know that the Yixing mainland had 10 continents, Kong Peng Peng did not find it strange, as most of the Jia continent's cultivator army knew about this. Moreover, he also knew that many of these Yixing Ocean's cultivators were the descendants of the 10th continent who were left behind in the Yixing Ocean. On the opposite side of the Yixing Ocean, the 10th continent is called the Tian continent. This continent is the place where the real powerhouses gather. Crucible transformation cultivators in the Yixing mainland's 3 high-level continents are the peak existences, but in the Tian continent, the crucible transformation cultivators are not the peak, but rather there are existences that are even higher than the crucible transformation cultivators. Speaking till here, Kong Peng Peng suddenly asked, "Shui, do you know if you can cultivate to the peak in the Yixing mainland, what kind of level would you reach?" When Ning Cheng heard this, his heartbeat suddenly accelerated. He and Tai Shu Shi had talked about this kind of thing, and had heard that Tai Shu Shi's ancestor could tear apart the Yixing mainland's interface. Did Kong Peng Peng mean that if he could cultivate to the highest level, he could also tear apart the interface here, and then he would have the opportunity to return to Earth? Although he was excited in his heart, Ning Cheng still held back his excitement and spoke in a respectful voice. "General Kong, my real name is Ning Cheng. I do not know what is the peak of cultivation, but I really want to know." Kong Peng Peng smiled. "I can see that you really want to know. Your heartbeat has already expressed your thoughts. I heard that a long time ago, the Yixing mainland's cultivators could cultivate to the peak and could leave this world and go to a higher level world to continue to pursue the Tao. But after all, this is only a legend, because no one has ever really left this world to go to another world. But then there was a cultivator from the Tian continent who passed through the Yixing Ocean, proving that this is not a legend, but rather a real thing. Is it tearing apart the boundary?" Ning Cheng asked nervously. If it was tearing apart the boundary, then he really wanted to know to what extent one would be able to achieve such a thing. According to what he knew, the highest level of cultivation was the crucible transformation realm, It was certainly impossible to achieve. Kong Peng Peng shook his head and said, "It should not be tearing apart the boundary." The Yixing Ocean's cultivator was also not very clear about it. He only said that in the endless starry skies, the Yixing mainland is just a broken place, and the laws are not complete. In the endless starry skies, there are many true cultivation planets, but the level of those true cultivation planets is far higher than the Yixing mainland. Does that mean that with the same cultivation of essence-building realm, the Yixing mainland's cultivators would not be able to compare to others? Ning Cheng asked in doubt. Although cultivation is a different path to the same end, but there are differences in strength. After the Yixing mainland was broken, the cultivation levels of the cultivators were re-evolved according to the laws of the heaven and earth, so it is normal for cultivators of the same level to not be able to compare to others. Even the 9 continents of the Yixing mainland are different. The lower-class continents are restricted by the laws of the heaven and earth and the spiritual qi. As such, the cultivation methods are far inferior to the intermediate-class continents and the advanced-class continents, not to mention the other continents. Kong Peng Peng sighed and spoke. He himself was not very clear about it. Ning Cheng had come from Earth. Even if he had cultivated for a few years, how could he know about these things? In Kong Peng Peng's words, what he was most concerned about was that someone from the Tian continent could leave the Yixing mainland and go to a higher plane. So after he listened to Kong Peng Peng's words, he quickly asked, "Is there really someone from the Tian continent who left the Yixing mainland?" Kong Peng Peng's tone became a bit more dignified. "What I want to tell you is this. Although the Yixing Ocean's cultivators sneak attacked the cultivator army of the 9 continents, but the war should soon calm down. At least for the time being, it should calm down." I asked the general to dispel my doubts. Ning Cheng quickly said. Kong Peng Peng's tone became a bit eager. "There is the latest news that the Tian continent's Heaven's Way has once again opened." "What is Heaven's Way?" Ning Cheng could not help but ask. After the Yixing mainland was broken, the laws became incomplete. As such, there is no way to use the laws of the heaven and earth to leave the Yixing mainland. But in the Tian continent, there is a road called Heaven's Way. When a cultivator's cultivation reaches a certain level, they can then pass through the Heaven's Way and leave the Yixing mainland, and go to a place with more abundant spiritual qi and resources, to pursue a higher Tao. As Kong Peng Peng spoke these words, his tone became more and more excited. It was obvious that he also wanted to walk through the Heaven's Way. Heaven's Way. Ning Cheng repeated the words. He had already set the Heaven's Way as his current goal. Kong Peng Peng once again gave a smile. "Don't think that the Heaven's Way is easy to walk through, although in theory after reaching a certain level, everyone can walk through the Heaven's Way, but the people who can really cross it from ancient times until now, no one knows how many, or perhaps not even a single one. Because after entering the Heaven's Way, all the cultivators disappear. No one knows if they have already walked through the Heaven's Way or not. It might really be the Heaven's Way, or it might just be a legend. Then who else will go to Heaven's Road? When your cultivation reaches a certain level, you'll understand this principle. The Tian continent was called the Tian continent because it had such a Heaven's Road. The Heavenly Road had been closed for countless years, but it had opened again recently. All the cultivators who had been stuck in their cultivation for countless years rushed towards the Heaven's Road, wanting to find a way out. The Yixing Ocean's cultivator army, this time they launched a large-scale sneak attack on the 9 continents. It is also because of the Heaven's Way. Ning Cheng became even more confused as he asked, "General Kong, the Heaven's Way is in the Tian continent. The cultivators from the Yixing Ocean should be going to the Tian continent. Why would they want to attack the 9 continents? To the Heaven continent?" Kong Peng Peng sneered. The distance between the Yixing Ocean's cultivators and the Tian continent's mainland island, even if they walked for countless years, they would not necessarily be able to reach it. The reason why they came to the 9 continents is because there is also a Heaven's Way in the Lu continent. Seeing Ning Cheng surprised, Kong Peng Peng explained, "The Lu continent's Heaven's Way has always existed, but compared to the Tian continent's Heaven's Way, the Lu continent's Heaven's Way is also known as the Pseudo-Heaven's Way. Because once one entered the Lu continent's Heaven's Way, one would be able to come out. Moreover, only cultivators who have reached the essence-building realm, and whose life essence has not yet taken shape, can enter. That is, only essence-building, profound congealing and profound core cultivators can enter. This Heaven's Way, in addition to being called the pseudo-Heaven's Way, there are also people who call it the Law's Way. The I Ching mainland is broken, other than the Tian continent which has enough cultivation resources, and the heaven and earth laws are relatively complete. In the rest of the 9 continents, the cultivators who can cultivate to the sea-opening realm and above must have experienced the Law's Way. After the cultivators reach the essence-building realm, they can comprehend the various incomplete cultivation laws of the 9 continents inside the Law's Way and perfect their own Tao of cultivation. Only by experiencing the Law's Way and comprehending it perfectly would it be possible for them to aspire to a higher level. There are more and more I Ching Ocean's cultivators on the island, although the sea is also rich in resources, but it is not as rich as the inland. With the consumption of cultivation resources, after the I Ching Ocean's cultivators reach the soul essence realm, it is getting more and more difficult to advance. This time they are cutting off all means of retreat, because they want to share the Law's Way. They want the I Ching Ocean's cultivators to also be able to walk the Law's Way. Ning Cheng understood. Those cultivators with high cultivation levels also want to go to the Tian continent to walk the real Heaven's Way. These cultivators with high cultivation levels are afraid that after they leave the I Ching Ocean, the I Ching Ocean would not have any successors. As such, they are anxious to cultivate some talented successors. If these successors want to speed up their cultivation to a higher level, then they would have to walk the Law's Way. Kong Peng Peng gave an appreciative nod to Ning Cheng and spoke, "You are very smart. It is indeed like this. The I Ching Ocean's cultivator army suddenly made their move, is to reach an agreement with the cultivators of the 9 continents. Every time they walk the Law's Way, their people would also be able to enter a part of it." Ning Cheng suddenly thought, although he had rendered meritorious service in this war, but in the end he was just an ordinary essence-building cultivator. Kong Peng Peng was just a soul essence cultivator. Even if he appreciated him, there was no need for him to explain these things in such detail, right? Chapter 172. After Kong Peng Peng praised Ning Cheng, his tone suddenly changed and became even more serious as he spoke. "Ning Cheng, do you want to go further on the path of cultivation, such as advancing to the profound core realm or even beyond the profound core realm?" Ning Cheng spoke with affirmation. "Of course I want to go further, but my qualifications." Kong Peng Peng stood up as he looked at the distant I Ching Ocean and spoke, "How far your heart is, how far you can go. You see that the I Ching Ocean is boundless. In fact, there are some people who can cross the I Ching Ocean. Since ancient times, there had been too many almighty beings with shocking talents. Were they all very talented? No, at least not some of them. Do you know the Wu Nian Academy's sovereign Qing Yishui? He had a triple-line hybrid spiritual root, but today he is a powerhouse at the Crucible Transformation 9th level." Speaking till here, Kong Peng Peng retracted his gaze as he stared at Ning Cheng and spoke, "Do not ask me how a person with a tri-line hybrid spiritual root can cultivate to the Crucible Transformation 9th level. I do not have a definite answer. However, I can tell you that even if you have an all-element hybrid spiritual root, as long as you have the opportunity, you can still reach the peak. There were no free opportunities in the world. All opportunities were reserved for those who were prepared and ambitious, not for those who didn't even dare to think about it. Let's see if you dare to think about it." Ning Cheng certainly did not think that he would not be able to go further. His words were just deliberately pointing out that his spiritual roots were not good. At this time, after listening to Kong Peng Peng's words, he immediately thought of the purple-robed woman from the Wu Nian Academy and could not help but ask, "General Kong, I heard people say that the Wu Nian Academy only recruits disciples with the best qualifications and would not accept even a little bit worse. Since Cheng Yishui's aptitude isn't good, why does he need his disciple like this?" Ning Cheng did not have a favorable impression of the Wu Nian Academy. As such, he directly called out Cheng Yishui's name without even a shred of respect. Kong Peng Peng heard that Ning Cheng did not have even half a shred of respect for the Wu Nian Academy, as he chuckled and said, "Your qualifications are poor, no wonder you do not like the Wu Nian Academy." It was precisely because Sect Master Cheng's aptitude wasn't good that he knew how difficult it was for someone with a poor aptitude to walk further down the path of cultivation. The amount of cultivation resources and willpower required was simply astonishing. Not everyone with poor aptitude had strong willpower and incomparably deep opportunities. As the head of a faction, he chooses people with good qualifications to join the Wu Nian Academy, and it is understandable. Ning Cheng deeply agreed with Kong Pingpeng's words. If the people of an academy, each and every one of them consumed resources just like him, then this academy would not be able to exist. Just the consumption alone could cause the sect to collapse. General Kong, is there a limit to the number of people who can enter the law's way to comprehend the heaven's way? Ning Cheng guessed that Kong Pingpeng had mentioned about the heaven's way to him. It was definitely not for no reason. Kong Pingpeng spoke in a very satisfied manner. Talking to smart people is very simple. The law's way is because of the quota limit, which is the reason why the Yixing Ocean's cultivator army and the cultivator army of the 9 continents are at war. The law's way can only be entered once every 10 years, and only 1,000 people can enter at a time. There was no way for a rogue cultivator to enter. If one wanted to enter the law's way, then one would have to join an academy or join the cultivator army. Some of the essence-building cultivators had joined the cultivator army with the sole purpose of entering the law's way. As a 6 stars commander, I can recommend a person to enter. Ning Cheng somewhat understood in his heart, and once again asked, "Does General Kong want to recommend me to enter the law's way?" "That's right. I can see that you only have the cultivation of essence-building realm, but you are able to kill a profound congealing cultivator. I do not ask you what kind of fortuitous encounter you had, but I also know that you are not simple. From our conversation a moment ago, I can also see that your ability to comprehend is really good. If you are willing, then I really want to recommend you to enter the law's way. Your ability is also worthy of me doing this, but..." Kong Pingpeng paused for a moment. After entering the law's way, the probability of coming out is very low, even less than 30%. Moreover, many of the cultivators who enter the law's way only have the opportunity to come out after hundreds of years. Some of them simply stay inside forever. Although I hope that you can represent me to enter the law's way, but whether you are willing or not, I will not force you. As I said before, how far your heart is, how far you can go. If you do not want to become stronger through this method, then just pretend that I did not say anything. Ning Cheng gave a respectful bow and said, "I am willing to enter the law's way. Since 30% of the cultivators can survive, then I must be among the people who are still alive. But there are 3 things that I would like to ask General Kong." Hearing that Ning Cheng was willing to enter the law's way, Kong Pingpeng said with a smile on his face, "You can speak freely. I have decided to give you the rank of a 5-star junior commander. I have a total of 4 5-star generals under me. As long as you can come out of the law's way, then you will understand how correct your decision was." "Many thanks for the generosity." Ning Cheng quickly thanked him. He would not be polite and say that he did not want the position of junior commander. With his military exploits, it would not be too outrageous for him to advance from 2-star to 5-star. But he did not care about this 5-star junior commander position. He simply did not intend to stay in the cultivator army for a long time. After thanking him, Ning Cheng said what he wanted to say. "The first thing is that General wants me to go to the law's way. There must be something that you need me to do. I asked the General to just tell me. As long as it is possible, Ning Cheng will definitely go all out." Kong Pingpeng was more and more appreciative of Ning Cheng's intelligence. "That's right. If you can come out of the law's way, then as the person who recommended you, I can get a void soul pill for you. I have been in the late stages of the soul essence realm for many years. Without a void soul pill, it would be impossible for me to attack the soul sculpting realm. This is the first point. The most important thing is that I hope that you can find the spiritual enhancement true nectar inside the law's way. I do not need much, just 3 drops would be enough." "What is this thing? How come I have never heard of this kind of spiritual medicine?" Ning Cheng asked in a puzzled manner. He had seen the Alchemy Foundation jade strips, and had also seen the various Spiritual Grass Foundation jade strips. It can be said that there were not many spiritual grasses or spiritual medicines that he did not know about, but now he actually did not know about the spiritual enhancement true nectar. The spiritual enhancement true nectar is strictly speaking not a spiritual medicine, but it is also classified as a spiritual medicine. Because it is simply a non-ranked thing, its only function is to allow a cultivator to comprehend the laws of the Tao laws, allowing one's cultivation to be more rounded, allowing one's potential to increase. Just like how a cultivator enters the law's way, it is just that the spiritual enhancement true nectar is not only suitable for cultivators below the soul essence realm, but is also useful for all cultivators. Kong Peng Peng looked at Ning Cheng with some eagerness and spoke, I have not entered the law's way. In the process of cultivation, I am always somewhat hesitant about the direction of my own Tao. If I had the spiritual enhancement true nectar, then my path would definitely not be limited to the soul essence realm. The spiritual enhancement true nectar is incomparably precious, moreover it can only be found inside the law's way. The law's way is about to open, but I have not been able to find a suitable person to enter. You are the most suitable one. If you are willing, then I would like to ask you to help me find 3 drops of spiritual enhancement true nectar. This is the most important thing for me, it is even more important than the void soul pill. Ning Cheng understood, and instead felt relieved in his heart. He was afraid that Kong Peng Peng would not have any request. If it was purely because he appreciated him, and treated him so well, then it would make him somewhat worried. I asked General to rest assured, as long as I can find the spiritual enhancement true nectar inside the law's way, I will definitely be able to bring it out for General Kong. After understanding the meaning of the other party, Ning Cheng immediately declared his position. Kong Peng Peng laughed and said, Good, I believe you. You say, what are the other 2 requests? This was tantamount to a form of cooperation. As such, Ning Cheng was no longer polite. I and a soul essence cultivator from the Celestial Globe 7-Star Academy surnamed Kong have some differences. I am afraid that when I go to the law's way, this guy will come looking for trouble with me. Moreover, I also have some contradictions with the Red Heaven 7-Star Academy. I even killed a few of the disciples of the Red Heaven Academy in the Angry Axe Valley. Kong Peng Peng patted his head in distress. You really can cause trouble to provoke 2 7-Star Academies. But it does not matter, my 9 continents cultivator army is not afraid of those academies, not to mention that you are also a 5-star junior commander of the 9 continents cultivator army. As long as you are not intercepted by them alone, you do not need to pay attention to these guys, they would not dare to do anything to you. Many thanks, General. The last thing is that I have to go to the Hua continent. If the law's way is going to open in a short period of time, then I may not be able to participate. Ning Cheng said truthfully, letting him give up on going to the Hua continent. It was absolutely impossible. Kong Peng Peng pondered for a moment and said, You can rest assured, the law's way will only open for a year. You have a top-notch black-silver warship, so it would only take you 20 days to reach there. I will also give you a favorable wind talisman. It would allow you to drive the warship to reach the Hua continent even faster. At most in less than 10 days, you would be able to reach the Hua continent. Ning Cheng was overjoyed. He could not wait to immediately fly to the Hua continent. Now that it would only take them less than 10 days for him, this was simply the best news that he had heard in recent times. Kong Peng Peng took out a talisman and handed it to Ning Cheng, and then took out a new set of military uniform. He engraved Shui Yi's name on the shoulder of the uniform, and handed it to Ning Cheng and said, This is your new uniform, you can change it. For the time being, you are still called Zhui Yi, otherwise, the General's communication pearl would not have your name, so as to avoid any misunderstandings. Ning Cheng took off Shui Yi's original uniform, put it into a wooden box and put it into his storage bag, and in front of Kong Peng Peng, he put on the new uniform. The shoulder of the new uniform had been replaced with a cyan-colored one, moreover it was also engraved with 5 stars. Seeing Ning Cheng put away the old uniform, Kong Peng Peng nodded with satisfaction and said, After you finish your business in the Hua continent, you must rush to the Pubu Island as soon as possible. I will be waiting for you in the Pubu Island. Ning Cheng asked in puzzlement. This time the Yixing Ocean's cultivators launched a sneak attack. Is the Pubu Island still in our hands? Kong Peng Peng spoke with disdain. These monkeys from the Yixing Ocean, not to mention that they would not be able to take down the Pubu Island. Even if they were able to take it down, they would still have to return it to our 9 continents cultivator army. You do not have to worry about this. You just have to come here. I can see that you are very rich. As such, I will not give you any spirit stones. You better hurry up and go. I have to clean up the battlefield here. Ning Cheng's face turned slightly red. He did not know whether Kong Peng Peng had seen the spirit stones that he had left on the warship, or if he knew that he had a storage ring but did not take it out. Chapter 173. Yang Honghua, I am planning to go to the Hua continent. What are your plans? Ning Cheng and Kong Peng Peng's conversation had already ended, as he was ready to leave. He had a good impression of Yang Honghua. If Yang Honghua was willing to go to the Hua continent with him, then he would not mind. Yang Honghua gave a military salute to Ning Cheng and spoke in a loud voice. I am also willing to join the Yizheng battalion and become Junior Commander Ning's personal guard. I ask for Junior Commander Ning's permission. Kong Peng Peng spoke from the side. Ning Cheng, you are already a 5-star junior commander, as such you can take charge of such things. Ning Cheng was very appreciative of Yang Honghua's ability to control the ship and the importance of friendship. When he heard Kong Peng Peng's words, he immediately said, then I agree to let Yang Honghua be my bodyguard, but I want to help Yang Honghua to be promoted to a 2-star second lieutenant, but I do not know how to do it. Kong Peng Peng laughed and said, you do have the authority to do so, but you are still unable to do it. So be it, I will help you with this matter first, and when the time comes, you will also do your best. Kong Peng Peng said, as he casually helped Yang Honghua change his epaulet. The epaulet changed from a red 1-star to an orange 2 stars. Yang Honghua was overjoyed, and quickly thanked Ning Cheng and Kong Peng Peng, while in his heart he felt that his decision was right. It took him several years to advance from 0-star to 1-star, but now, it only took him half a day to advance from 1-star to 2 stars. Ning Cheng also had a good impression of this 6-star General Kong Peng Peng. At least the opposite party spoke and did things very straightforwardly and decisively, and did not beat around the bush. After saying goodbye to Kong Peng Peng, Yang Honghua controlled the warship to change its direction and quickly headed towards the Hua continent. Ning Cheng attached the smooth wind talisman that Kong Peng Peng had given him to the black-silver warship, causing the speed of the black-silver warship to almost double. Yang Honghua in his heart marveled at the wealth of this 5-star junior commander Ning Cheng, not to mention that he was using spirit stones to drive the black-silver warship. He even used a windward talisman. Ning Cheng handed over the control of the warship to Yang Honghua, as he returned to the cabin and took out the ring of the Yixing Ocean's profound congealing cultivator. This profound congealing cultivator's background was not small at all. He did not know if the inside of his ring was also worth looking forward to. As it was a profound congealing cultivator's ring, Ning Cheng quickly refined it. When Ning Cheng saw the various kinds of materials piled up like a mountain, he almost could not believe that this was the ring of a profound congealing cultivator. Not to mention the piles and piles of spirit herbs, there were also piles and piles of refining materials. Compared to these things, hundreds of thousands of upper-grade spirit stones were nothing in this ring. What was this guy doing? Could he be in charge of collecting materials? Otherwise, where would he get so many materials? From the looks of it, not only did he have to learn alchemy, he also had to learn blacksmithing and talisman crafting. Otherwise, how would he deal with so many materials? After appreciating it for a while, Ning Cheng was filled with joy as he put away the ring. He did not go and look at it one by one. Now the most important thing for him was the twin radiant heavenly cloud leaves. He must refine the twin radiant heavenly cloud leaves in the shortest possible time. This kind of thing, the sooner it became his the better. Yang Honghua concentrated on controlling the warship. He rarely had the opportunity to operate this kind of top-notch black-silver warship. As such, he was even more excited than Ning Cheng to operate this kind of warship. After arranging the isolation array formation, Ning Cheng immediately threw himself into refining the twin radiant heavenly cloud leaves. The twin radiant heavenly cloud leaves were natural treasures. Being able to obtain them was an absolutely amazing thing. Once it was leaked out, it would cause countless people to scramble for it. Time passed by in a flash. Yang Honghua's warship along the way also encountered some Yixing Ocean's cultivators. Because the speed of the warship was too fast, the Yixing Ocean's cultivators who were close to the lower-class continents had low cultivations. As such, they did not have the time to block their path. On the 8th day, Ning Cheng, who had been holding the twin radiant heavenly cloud leaves with his eyes closed, suddenly opened his eyes. The pair of twin radiant heavenly cloud leaves in his hands with a pale golden glow had disappeared. Ning Cheng stood up in joy. With his spiritual consciousness, he could clearly see that there were two almost invisible pale golden shadow marks on his back. A kind of feeling that he could stretch out his wings at any time welled up in his heart. The twin radiant heavenly cloud leaves had been completely refined by him. As this thought flashed through Ning Cheng's mind, a pair of milky white wings appeared on his back. This was the pair of twin radiant heavenly cloud leaves that he had refined. The edges of the white wings had a pale golden glow. It made Ning Cheng wish that he could immediately fly out and try out his own pair of twin radiant heavenly cloud leaves. He subconsciously flapped the wings on his back, and a powerful wind swept out. It was incomparably smooth and smooth. Ning Cheng suppressed the surprise and joy in his heart. In the cruel and incomparably cruel Yixing mainland, he now had one more means. With an extra pair of wings, it would definitely give him an extra layer of protection for his small life. Ning Cheng knew that after refining the matured twin radiant heavenly cloud leaves, under the nourishment of his own true essence, it would be possible for it to advance. He was very much looking forward to seeing to what extent his twin radiant heavenly cloud leaves could advance to. Putting away the twin heavenly cloud wings, Ning Cheng removed the isolation array formation. He was ready to carefully examine the two piles of materials that he had seized from the storage ring to see if there were any more precious materials. But Yang Honghua sent him a message. Ning Cheng put away the things, and had just walked out when he heard Yang Honghua, who was operating the warship, say, "Junior Commander Ning, we are already close to the Hua continent. The warship's monitoring array formation shows that the Hua continent's cultivator army and the Yixing Ocean's cultivator army are fighting. Should we participate in the battle, or should we go around?" Ning Cheng was happy in his heart, since the Hua continent's cultivator army and the Yixing Ocean's cultivator army were still fighting. It meant that the Hua continent was still safe and sound. Charge over. Prepare the spirit stone cannons and fire a few times to open up a path. Ning Cheng spoke out without any hesitation. Since he had met them, he must kill these people from the Yixing Ocean. Yang Honghua was waiting for Ning Cheng to say those words. Once Ning Cheng agreed, he immediately controlled the warship and directly rushed towards the battlefield. The peak-grade black-silver warship was extremely fast and had already rushed to the periphery of the battlefield. Only then did the cultivator army, who were fighting together, notice it. Yang Honghua did not wait for these cultivator soldiers to react, as the spirit stone cannon immediately shot out a blinding white light. Boom boom boom. Yang Honghua continued to fire several times in succession, as the white light exploded and the berserk whirlpool of the spiritual source directly swallowed up the 1,000 or 2,000 cultivators from the Yixing Ocean. After firing several cannons, the black-silver warship finally arrived in front of them. Ning Cheng had already brought out his golden great axe, as he chopped out with an axe line. The berserk spirit stones had not yet completely calmed down, when a distorted golden axe line split open out of thin air. Countless Yixing Ocean's cultivators under the killing intent of the golden axe line were instantly killed. The originally stalemated battlefield immediately became restless, as the low-leveled seagoing ships and the low-leveled warships flying in the air were thrown into chaos. This kind of chaos quickly turned into a one-sided situation, as the Hua continent's cultivator army understood that there were people coming to support them, while the Yixing Ocean's cultivator army directly retreated in defeat. The scale of this battlefield could not be compared to the one that Ning Cheng had participated in before, as the number of people on both sides added up to less than 10,000. Ning Cheng had only used a few axe lines, coupled with the power of the spirit stone cannon. In just a short period of time, the battlefield was completely controlled by the Hua continent's cultivator army. I haven't even had enough fun yet. These Yixing Ocean's people really can't take a beating. Yang Honghua spoke in a somewhat unhappy voice. Ning Cheng smiled and spoke. There is a profound core cultivator here. If not for the Hua continent's side also having a profound core cultivator blocking them, perhaps that guy would have already come over. You control the warship, I will go over to help. Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness was already able to see two profound core cultivators fighting in a distant place. He was able to kill them all. As such, the two profound core cultivators were able to see it. But the profound core cultivator from the Hua continent, because of Ning Cheng's help, was even more imposing, while the profound core cultivator from the Yixing Ocean wanted to come over to support them, but was entangled by the profound core cultivator from the Hua continent, and was unable to leave for some time. When the profound core cultivator from the Yixing Ocean saw Ning Cheng's top-notch black-silver warship coming over, he no longer dared to get entangled, and immediately wanted to escape. Ning Cheng did not intend to let him go. If he was alone, he would not dare to stop a profound core cultivator. But now that he had the help of a profound core cultivator, as long as he was on the side, he would be able to stop the opposite party. After approaching the Yixing Ocean's profound core cultivator, Ning Cheng did not even think about it, as he immediately rushed out of the warship and brought out his golden great axe. He raised his hand and immediately shot out a whirlwind. The formidable axe shadow's killing intent rolled up the surrounding killing force, directly sealing off the retreat of the profound core cultivator. The profound core cultivator who was fighting with the Yixing Ocean's cultivator instantly understood Ning Cheng's thoughts, as he went all out with his true essence, and brought out his biggest killing move. The wheel in his hands brought out dozens of rings, as it sealed off the other side of the Yixing Ocean's cultivator. This Yixing Ocean's profound core cultivator was originally panicking in his heart, but then he saw that Ning Cheng was just an essence-building cultivator. As such, he did not hesitate to rush towards Ning Cheng's side, while simultaneously bringing out his own magical weapon. Bang! The golden great axe's killing intent and the profound core cultivator's magical weapon collided, as Ning Cheng was directly sent flying upside down. Fortunately, Ning Cheng knew that he was not a match for the opposite party. As such, he was already prepared to retreat. Although he was sent flying far away, but he only suffered a minor injury. This Yixing Ocean's profound core cultivator was attacked by the powerful killing intent from the angry axe whirlpool, and was forced to retreat a few steps. He was still secretly shocked in his heart. Ning Cheng was just an essence-building cultivator, but unexpectedly had such a powerful true essence, and was even able to grasp such a powerful axe intent, but he forgot that there was still a profound core cultivator behind him. Dozens of rings directly wrapped around the Yixing Ocean's profound core cultivator. As a bloody mist sprayed out, a profound core cultivator was killed by Ning Cheng and the other profound core cultivator. That profound core cultivator very skillfully put away his ring, as he arrived in front of Ning Cheng's black-silver warship and cupped his fists and spoke. Hua Continent's Falling Star Academy's Man Rang greets Junior Commander Zhua. Many thanks to Junior Commander Zhua for your timely rescue. Man Rang was not completely a person from the Cultivator Army, he was from the Falling Star Academy. But when the Yixing Ocean's Cultivator Army invaded the Hua Continent, he would always participate. Moreover, he was also the leader. So although he was not part of the Hua Continent's army, but he was still a 4-star marquis. But Man Rang's cultivation was higher than Ning Cheng. As such, he cupped his fists in gratitude towards Ning Cheng, mainly because Ning Cheng had helped him. As for his military rank being a level lower than Ning Cheng, this place was not a military camp, so he did not care. But in his heart he found it strange. Ning Cheng was already a 5-star junior commander at such a young age. Chapter 174. Ning Cheng was in a good mood. Since the Falling Star Academy was here, then it meant that the rest of the academies would not have any problems. He smiled and said, I seem to have heard about you from Meng Yujing of the Falling Star Academy. You should be Dean Man of the Falling Star Academy, right? When Ning Cheng had followed Meng Yujing, he had heard of the name Dean Man. Presumably, this person in front of him was Man Rang. You know Meng Yujing, that's great. Yes, I am the Deputy Dean of the Falling Star Academy. Have you ever been to the Hua Continent? When Man Rang heard Ning Cheng say that he knew him, and also knew Meng Yujing, he immediately felt a lot more cordial. I originally came from the Hua Continent to the Angry Axe Valley. My real name is not Zhuo Yi, but rather Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng said with a smile. He knew Meng Yujing, but it was not a friendly acquaintance. At this time, he deliberately mentioned Meng Yujing's name, just to get closer to Man Rang, and then inquire about some news. When Man Rang heard the name Ning Cheng, he was immediately shocked and asked, Are you the Ning Cheng who took the first place in the tournament of the 5-star academies? God Wind Academy's Ningqing? Are you pretending to be someone else's military officer? Although Man Rang had never seen Ningqing in person, but he was not unfamiliar with the name Ningqing. When he heard that Ningqing was pretending to be someone else's name, his complexion immediately changed. In the cultivator army of the 9 continents, publicly impersonating someone else's military position was a serious crime. Yang Honghua quickly spoke up. Junior Commander Ning was directly appointed by Commander Kong. Because of the urgency of the Yixing Oceans War, he temporarily used Second Lieutenant Zhu's military position. Commander Kong is aware of it. Moreover, he directly promoted the second lieutenant's military position to junior commander. Dean Man does not have to worry about it. I see. Manjin heaved a sigh of relief. Ning Cheng took the opportunity to speak. Dean Man, you know that I am from the God Wind Academy, and this time I came here to return to the God Wind Academy. It is really thanks to Dean Xieman who brought the Hua Continent's cultivator army here to block the Yixing Ocean's cultivator army. If these Yixing Ocean's cultivator army were to enter the Hua Continent, then? Speaking till here, Ning Cheng suddenly stopped himself. He felt that Man Rang's expression was not right. Unexpectedly there was a look of grief and indignation. Ning Cheng quickly asked, Dean Man, did something happen in the Hua Continent? Alas, the Hua Continent had already been occupied by the cultivators from the Yixing Ocean a few days ago. None of the great true countries were spared. Those beasts from the Yixing Ocean burned, killed and looted everywhere, while indulging the monstrous beasts to devour the ordinary people. What? Ning Cheng did not wait for Man Rang to finish, as his complexion turned ashen. If the Hua Continent was occupied by the cultivators from the Yixing Ocean, then where could Luofei go? What about an E from the Falling Star Academy? Ning Cheng's tone was no longer as calm as it was a moment ago, as he asked in a cold voice, since the Hua Continent has already been occupied by the Yixing Ocean's cultivators, then why is Dean Man still leading the cultivator army here to entangle with the Yixing Ocean's cultivators? The Hua Continent's 5-star academies, as well as some of the 4-star academies, have many inner sect disciples. These are the future of the Hua Continent. I led the army in order to bring up the rear and prepare to send these outstanding disciples to the intermediate level continents. Yes, our academy also has a person called an E, you know her, she was also sent away. Man Rang said with a sigh. But after saying that, his eyes were somewhat eager as he stared at Ning Cheng's black-silver warship and spoke, Junior Commander Ning, I can see that your axe intent is very powerful. If you can coordinate it with this black-silver warship, then together with the cultivator army on my side, we might be able to drive away the cultivators from the Yixing Ocean. Chase him away? I will not let a single one of them escape. Ning Cheng's tone was filled with a strong killing intent, causing Man Rang to feel a trace of shock. Although this Ning Cheng's cultivation level was not high, but his understanding of killing intent was something that even he himself was far inferior to. Junior Commander Ning, as long as you are willing to fight, I am very willing to cooperate with you in the fight. Now there are many cultivators in the Hua Continent who have united together and are fighting against the monstrous beasts and cultivators from the Yixing Ocean, but they are not unified yet. Once they are unified, then they would definitely be a formidable force in the Hua Continent. Moreover, they did not think that I would be able to return unscathed. Man Rang was also aroused by Ning Cheng's powerful killing intent, or perhaps he was thinking about the beastly behavior of the Yixing Ocean's cultivators. Ning Cheng clenched his fists, his anger almost made him squeeze the air out of his hand. Dean Man, I want to know if the inner sect disciples of the God Wind Academy were also sent out? God Wind Academy? Man Rang immediately understood Ning Cheng was from the God Wind Academy. Moreover, he seemed to have a fiancée called Ji Luofei who was also from the God Wind Academy. Ning Cheng was angry because he thought that the God Wind Academy was destroyed by the Yixing Ocean's cultivator army. As such, he was definitely worried about his fiancée. Man Rang spoke. The God Wind Academy was not destroyed by the Yixing Ocean's cultivators. Rather, it was destroyed half a year ago. Even now it is still a mystery. When something happened to the God Wind Academy, I deliberately went to take a look. The God Wind Academy was not destroyed by the Yixing Ocean's cultivators? Was it destroyed half a year ago? Ning Cheng stared at Man Rang with wide eyes. Who was it that destroyed the God Wind Academy half a year ago? Do you have a fiancé called Ji Luo Fei in the God Wind Academy? Man Rang asked. Ning Cheng forcibly calmed down his anger, as he nodded and said, "Yes, my fiancé Ji Luo Fei is in the God Wind Academy. I came back this time to pick up Luo Fei and leave this place." Dean Man, you went to the God Wind Academy to take a look. Don't tell me you don't have any clue? Man Rang pondered for a moment and said, "To say that I don't have any clue, that is not true, but I will not say it. If you are worried about your fiancé Ji Luo Fei, then you do not need to. You have a friend who took away your fiancé. Two profound core cultivators joined forces to deal with your friend, but your friend easily cut off the arms of those two profound core cultivators. Your friend does not seem to like killing and did not kill anyone. So even though the God Wind Academy was destroyed, there were still many disciples of the God Wind Academy that were not killed. If you go to the Hua continent now, maybe you can find the disciples of the God Wind Academy." Hearing that Ji Luo Fei was all right, Ning Cheng was relieved, but he really could not remember that he had such a friend. Seeing Ning Cheng thinking hard but could not remember, Man Rang once again spoke. "That person was a white-haired old woman. She said that she was your friend, and told the people who attacked the God Wind Academy to get lost. Although the people who attacked the God Wind Academy were forced to retreat by her, but many of the experts of the God Wind Academy had already died, the rest of the people dispersed, while your fiancé was taken away by your friend." It turned out to be a white-haired old woman. Ning Cheng really did not think that this white-haired old woman would help him. Although he and this white-haired old woman were not friends, but he had helped the other party a bit, so it could be assumed that the other party had helped him because of their relationship. Many thanks to Dean Man, Ning Cheng felt relieved in his heart, as he gave a grateful bow to Man Rang. For Ning Cheng, as long as Ji Luo Fei was safe, as for who destroyed the God Wind Academy, he believed that sooner or later he would be able to find out. Even if he did not look for it, Song Shuo would definitely come back to look for it. Even if he knew that Ji Luo Fei had been taken away by the white-haired old woman, Ning Cheng still intended to go to the God Wind Academy to have a look. Man Rang quickly organized the Hua continent's cultivator army, and also followed Ning Cheng to the Hua continent. Because Man Rang was following them, Ning Cheng could only let Yang Honghua slow down. They were already at the edge of the Hua continent, and now in just half a day, they had already set foot on the territory of the Hua continent. The reason why Ning Cheng cared about the Hua continent was entirely because of Ji Luo Fei. Now that Ji Luo Fei had left, and he also came to know that the God Wind Academy was not destroyed by the Yixing Ocean's cultivator army, Ning Cheng did not have that kind of angry mood from before. In contrast, he came from Earth. As such, his sense of belonging to the 9 continents of the Yixing mainland was not very strong. But when Ning Cheng once again set foot on the Hua continent, the anger in his chest once again ignited. Wherever he went, there was not a single intact building. Almost all the villages and cities were completely destroyed. Everywhere was covered with bones, broken limbs, and even some of the monstrous beasts from the Yixing Ocean were devouring the ordinary people. From time to time one could see a small group of Yixing Ocean's cultivator army chasing after the low-leveled martial artists and cultivators of the Hua continent. As for the ordinary people, they had already been killed. These Yixing Ocean's cultivators apparently knew that they would not stay in the Hua continent for a long time, as such they were killing and destroying everywhere. When Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness swept towards a Yixing Ocean's cultivator directing a monstrous beast to swallow a few years old child, he turned to Man Rang who was on the warship and spoke, "Dean Man, I have decided that all the cultivator army and monstrous beasts that entered the Yixing Ocean will not be left alive. I will be in the front, while you take the army and follow behind, at the same time gather the scattered troops of the Hua continent's cultivator army. If we meet a profound core cultivator, then I ask Dean Man to lend me a helping hand." Ning Cheng decided not to let the Yixing Ocean's cultivators leave. He was also aware of his own abilities. Once he met a profound core cultivator, he was not their opponent at present. Man Rang was the best assistant. As long as Man Rang could force the other party, then he could then join forces with Man Rang to kill the profound core cultivator. Man Rang had long wanted to fight back, but his strength was limited and was entangled by the other party in the Yixing Ocean. He was afraid that Ning Qing would not help him. Now that Ning Qing wanted to help him, how could he refuse, and quickly spoke up, "Many thanks to Junior Commander Ning for your help. I had long wanted to teach this group of sea monkeys a lesson, but my strength was not enough. Now that I have Junior Commander Ning's help, I am a lot more confident." They do not have many profound core cultivators in the Hua continent, at most they have 2. Before there was a big battle, both sides suffered a lot of losses. The profound core cultivators were almost mutually wounded. Although Ning Cheng's cultivation was lower than Man Rang's, but he had the Spirit Stone Cannon. Moreover, his axe line was a group-killing axe intent. As long as there was no profound core cultivator to interfere with him, he and Yang Honghua would simply be able to destroy them. At this time, the Yi Xing Ocean's cultivators had already taken control of the Hua continent. As such, there was simply no problem of them entangling with each other. Regarding the dozens or hundreds of Yi Xing Ocean's cultivators and monstrous beasts that had gathered together, Ning Cheng simply did not need to use his hands, as Yang Honghua's Spirit Stone Cannon would immediately bombard them and would directly exterminate them. Only when there were a few cultivators who managed to escape, would Ning Cheng occasionally bring out 1 or 2 axe lines. Before Ning Cheng came here, the largest cultivator army in the Hua continent was under Man Rang's command. The Yi Xing Ocean's cultivators knew that they would not be able to stay in the Hua continent for long, so after entangling Man Rang, they immediately rushed to the Hua continent to loot it. Therefore they did not occupy the cities, but rather burned, killed and looted to their heart's content, destroying everything in their path. But they did not expect that Ning Cheng's arrival would actually rescue Man Rang. Against these scattered soldiers who were burning, killing and looting everywhere, Ning Cheng and the Black Silver warship were able to easily deal with them. Later on, when Ning Cheng made his move, Man Rang would immediately seal off the surrounding area, not allowing a person or a monstrous beast to escape. Chapter 175. After the Yi Xing Ocean's cultivator army entered the Hua continent, they were in a state of disunity. It was just that the Hua continent's cultivators were not able to organize an effective counterattack. Now that Ning Cheng and Man Rang organized a counterattack, it immediately formed a snowball effect. Other than letting Yang Honghua fire a few cannons at the beginning, Ning Cheng did not use the Spirit Stone cannons at all. With this kind of advantage, there was simply no need to use the Spirit Stone cannons, as each time they would be able to kill a small number of cultivators and monstrous beasts from the Yi Xing Ocean. While the cultivators from the Yi Xing Ocean were constantly being exterminated, the number of cultivators from the Hua continent's cultivator army was constantly increasing. Compared to the Yi Xing Ocean's cultivators who were scattered like sand, after Man Rang annihilated the Yi Xing Ocean's cultivators, he immediately organized the Hua continent's cultivators to re-establish a base, and then gathered the scattered people in all directions. In just a short span of 4 days, Ning Cheng and Man Rang had already collected nearly 1/5 of the territories. On the 5th day, Ning Cheng and Man Rang's Hua continent's cultivator army had already gathered nearly 100,000 people when they finally met their biggest resistance. The Moze city was the location of the Falling Star 5-Star Academy and was also the territory of the Shui clan and was also one of the largest cultivation cities in the Hua continent. However, this place had now become the lair of the Yi Xing Ocean's cultivator army, with tens of thousands of Yi Xing Ocean's cultivators gathered here. The Yi Xing Ocean's cultivators did not immediately destroy this place. It was estimated that they wanted to create a city for them to live in. When Ning Cheng saw that there were 7 profound core cultivators, there were also dozens of profound congealing cultivators, and even more essence-building cultivators. In addition to the 50 to 60,000 Yi Xing Ocean's cultivator army, he knew that if he could completely kill all the Hua continent's Yi Xing Ocean's cultivators, then he would have to fight in the Moze city. If this battle was not fought well, then even the Hua continent's cultivator army would be completely annihilated. Although Ning Cheng and Man Rang had gathered the Hua continent's cultivator army, they only had 3 profound core cultivators, Man Rang and the rogue cultivator Qi Xiuya, as well as the Clear Sky 5-Star Academy's Jing Ji. As for the profound congealing cultivators, they only had a dozen or so people. In addition to the fact that the number of cultivators in the army was much higher than that of the Yi Xing Ocean's cultivators, Their overall strength was definitely not as good as that of the Yixing Ocean's cultivators. Junior Commander Ning, do you think we can take down the Mo-Zhe city? Jing Ji was very polite to Ning Cheng, not because Ning Cheng was a 5-star junior commander, but because Ning Cheng's strength along the way had already won his respect. Man Rang and the other profound core rogue cultivator, Qi Shuya, were also looking at Ning Cheng expectantly. With Ning Cheng joining them, it would be incomparably easy for them. The main reason, in addition to Ning Cheng's Spirit Stone Cannon, was because of Ning Cheng's formidable group-killing axe intent. Although there were many profound core cultivators from the Hua continent from the Yixing Ocean, but they did not have a black-silver warship or a Spirit Stone Cannon like Ning Cheng. Therefore, Ning Cheng's black-silver warship, along with the Spirit Stone Cannon on the warship, became the only long-range attack weapon on the battlefield. Ning Cheng had not thought that the Yixing Ocean's cultivator army in the Mo-Zhe city would have such a great strength. With this kind of strength, if they wanted to destroy the entire Hua continent, it would indeed be effortless. Ning Cheng thought for a while and then said, the Mo-Zhe city's Yixing Ocean's cultivator army is definitely much stronger than us. The reason why they have not come out until now is because they are still not clear about our strength. Or rather, they are scattered like sand, each fighting their own battles, and do not even have the most basic means of intelligence gathering. Plus we have been sweeping them all the way here, so by the time they get the news that we have arrived, we would have already arrived outside the Mo-Zhe city. More importantly, they certainly do not know that we have a Spirit Stone Cannon. If they knew that we have a Spirit Stone Cannon, they would definitely come out immediately, rather than taking advantage of the Mo-Zhe city's geographical advantage. The 3 profound core cultivators and some of the profound congealing cultivators were also deeply convinced. The Mo-Zhe city's Yixing Ocean's cultivators had not yet figured out the strength of their side. Once they figured out the real situation of the Hua continent's cultivator army, especially when they knew that Ning Cheng had a Spirit Stone Cannon, then they would definitely rush out with a thunderous, imposing manner. Although the Hua continent's side had a lot of people, but their profound core cultivators were far inferior to the opposite side. In this kind of war between the cultivator armies, the number of people was not the main factor of strength, but rather a high cultivation level was the main determinant of strength. My idea is, as long as we kill the other party's profound core cultivator, we can then surround the Mo-Zhe city and use the Spirit Stone Cannon to wipe out the Mo-Zhe city's Yixing Ocean's cultivators in one fell swoop. Ning Cheng was not bragging. He would arrange layers upon layers of defensive array formations to protect the black-silver warship, as long as there were no profound core cultivators. For those profound congealing cultivators to break through his level 3 array formation, they would need at least some time. At this time, his Spirit Stone Cannon would be able to fully display its might. Man Rang gave a wry smile and spoke, we only have 3 profound core cultivators, while the other party has 7 people. More than double our numbers. How are we going to kill them? Currently they do not know our strength, but once they know, they will immediately rush out. It is them who will kill us, not us who will kill them. Ning Cheng suddenly spoke up, I am thinking of this. Dean Man and I will work together to deal with one of the profound core cultivators. Jing Ji and Qi Shuya, the 2 of you will each deal with 3 of them. After we kill the profound core cultivator, we will then come and help. As Ning Cheng finished speaking, Jing Ji and Qi Shuya's complexion turned ugly. Letting each of them deal with 3 profound core cultivators, it would simply be suicide. They would not even be able to last for more than a dozen breaths. Man Rang immediately spoke up, this is absolutely not possible. Ning Cheng waved his hand to stop Man Rang's words. I think the 3 of you might have misunderstood my meaning. I intend to arrange a hidden serial killing array. The 4 of us will be inside the array formation. Jing Ji and Qi Shuya will use the array formation to contain the remaining 6 people, while Man Rang and I will take the opportunity to kill them one by one. Of course, the premise is that the other party does not have an array formation master that far surpasses me. If the other party has a top-level array formation master, then my method may not necessarily work. You are also an array formation master? Man Rang asked in amazement. I can only arrange a level 3 array formation. Ning Cheng honestly replied. Man Rang, on hearing Ning Qing say that he was only a level 3 array formation master, spoke up with some disappointment. A level 3 array formation can indeed block a profound core cultivator who does not understand array formations for a few breaths of time, but if you want to use this array formation to kill 7 profound core cultivators, it is simply not realistic. Jing Ji and Qi Xiuya also shook their heads, indicating that Ning Cheng's idea was unrealistic. Ning Cheng showed a faint smile and said, "My array formation is different from the others. My array formation is something that even an ordinary array formation master would not necessarily be able to understand. Of course, the other party is an array formation master, and would certainly be able to find the array heart very quickly. But my array formation is also different from the others. That is, my array formation can be arranged in a cycle, which is the hidden serial killing array that I mentioned a moment ago." Ning Cheng had only learnt the basics of array formations from an E, but after he was enlightened about the mysterious yellow origin and was able to comprehend the mysterious yellow formless, his array formations and the inherited array formations were already completely different. Because of this, the killing intent restriction of the ancient immortal mansion in the Angry Axe Valley was completely useless against him. But the thoughts of the other people were different. Ning Cheng believed that as long as the 7 profound core cultivators could enter his hidden serial killing array, then his plan would be half successful. Although the array formation that he had arranged was a level 3 killing array, but it was able to integrate the killing intent restriction of the ancient immortal mansion in the Angry Axe Valley. Even if it was a profound core cultivator, within a dozen breaths of time, it would be very difficult to break it. Whether his method would be successful or not mainly depended on the first dozen breaths of time. He and Man Rang would be able to kill a few profound core cultivators. If even one of them could not be killed, then he would still fail. His array formation circulation was only a level 3 circulation array. If the 7 profound core cultivators joined forces, then the level 3 circulation array formation would soon be broken. If they could kill one of them, then they would be able to entangle the other one, which would extend the time needed to break the array formation. For Ning Cheng, in the first dozen breaths of time, the more profound core cultivators he and Man Rang killed, the higher the success rate would be. What he was worried about was that these profound core cultivators had top-level array formation masters. If they did not enter his hidden serial killing array, then even if he had more methods, it would be useless. Hearing Ning Cheng's explanation, Man Rang and the other 2 people were silent. Even if what Ning Cheng said was the truth, but it was only a level 3 array formation. The deterrence of a level 3 array formation to a profound core cultivator was simply too insignificant. It could even be said that it was almost non-existent. Ning Cheng, seeing the 3 people remain silent, once again spoke up, "After this war, I will leave the Hua continent. The reason why I acted was entirely because I was angry at the actions of these Yixing Ocean's cultivators. If the 3 of you do not agree with my method, then I will also understand. Then I think that we do not need to continue to besiege the city here. Besieging the city does not have any meaning." Qi Xiuya was the first to speak up. "I agree, my opportunity is in the Hua continent. Now that the Hua continent is being ravaged like this, so what if I give my life to the Hua continent? Even if countless of the Hua continent's cultivators and soldiers fall, Qi Xiuya will not die." Hearing Qi Xiuya agree with Ning Cheng's opinion, Man Rang also spoke up in a solemn voice. "Junior Commander Ning, Moze City is my root. I have always lived in this Moze City, but now that those beasts from the Yixing Ocean have occupied this Moze City, it would be meaningless for me, Man Rang, to continue to live. If I die, then I die. Why would I care about my little life?" Jing Ji laughed. "I, Jing Ji, am not a person who is afraid of death, Junior Commander Ning. If you are able to escape in the future, remember to burn a few pieces of paper for this, Jing Ji." Ning Cheng gave a smile and said, "I cherish my life very much. How can I casually talk about dying? You can rest assured, there are 2 main points to my plan. First, it is necessary to let the Yixing Ocean's profound core cultivators enter my hidden serial killing array. If they do not come in, then my plan will fail. Second, and also the most important point, is that we have to kill a profound core cultivator in the first 10 breaths, otherwise there is a possibility that this plan will fail." Killing a profound core cultivator in 10 breaths, I'm afraid that it would be a bit difficult. Man Rang and Ning Cheng had joined hands to kill a profound core cultivator, but that profound core cultivator had already been fighting with him for a long time. Moreover, that person had also underestimated Ning Cheng, which was why the two of them were able to successfully attack him. Jing Ji also spoke up, Junior Commander Ning, regardless of whether your plan is successful or not, wouldn't it be very difficult to stimulate those profound core cultivators to come out? If they come out, and not all of them enter the array, wouldn't that mean that the plan would fail? Ning Cheng spoke with confidence. You do not have to worry about these things. In the hidden serial killing array, me and Dean Man can join hands. Killing a profound core cultivator in 10 breaths would not be difficult. As for letting those profound core cultivators come out, it would be even simpler. If they did not enter the array together, then our cultivator army would suffer a lot of losses, but it would not fail. Chapter 176. They actually have spirit stone cannons. The several profound core cultivators from the Yixing Ocean immediately knew that something was wrong. The strength of the opposite party was definitely not as good as them. If the strength of the opposite party was stronger than them, then it was absolutely impossible for them to wait until now to shoot out the spirit stone cannon. Ning Cheng was afraid of the Moz City's Yixing Ocean's cultivator army, but the Yixing Ocean's cultivators were similarly afraid of the Hua Continent's cultivator army. As long as they could pin down the profound core cultivator, then even if the rest of the cultivator army was many, they could still kill them all. Once a profound core cultivator rushed into the midst of the Hua Continent's cultivator army, then the casualties would definitely be disastrous. Both sides had their own plans, and the first day passed just like that. The Moz City's Yixing Ocean's cultivator army had tried to attack them a few times, but Man Rang did not take the initiative to meet them and only surrounded them. Neither did he leave, nor did he attack. After the Yixing Ocean's cultivator army probed a few times, they did not choose to attack, but instead once again retreated. My array formation has been completely arranged. In addition to a few probing attacks from the Moz City in the past 2 days, the rest of the time they have been biding their time. This means that they are also on the move. We don't know what they have been doing these past few days, and we don't need to know. As for what the Yixing Ocean's cultivators in the Moz City wanted to do, it was not important. In any case, he did not intend to rush into the Moz City to engage in a melee. For the Yixing Ocean's cultivator army to occupy the Hua Continent, it was not without paying a price. When they had just invaded the Hua Continent, the two sides had fought a war. Ning Cheng's speed in arranging array formations was already incomparably fast. As such, he could arrange several array formations within the time it takes for half an incense stick to burn. Moreover, after continuously arranging array formations for several days, even Ning Cheng himself could not remember how many array formations he had arranged in the end. Ning Cheng was sure that since he started learning about array formations, the number of array flags that he had refined in the past few days was not as many as the number of array flags that he had refined in the past few days. Ning Cheng pointed to the black-silver warship behind him and said, "Bringing them here is the easiest thing to do. We will let the black-silver warship crazily bombard the Moz City. With the power of the black-silver warship, if they didn't come out, they would really be courting death." After I placed the black-silver warship into the concealed serial killing array, those profound core cultivators would definitely be the first ones to come and destroy the black-silver warship. As such, they would naturally enter the array. Although this would reduce the pressure on Ning Cheng, but Ning Cheng also knew that the losses of the Hua Continent's cultivator army would be even greater. Once those two profound core cultivators rushed into the midst of the Hua Continent's cultivator army, then no one would be their opponent. Although he had arranged an array formation, but how long could this array formation block a profound core cultivator? It would only take a few minutes at most. Good idea. Qi Xiuya gave a smile. Ning Cheng's method was just too damaging. No wonder he had arranged layer after layer of defensive array formations in front of the black-silver warship. He had initially thought that Ning Cheng wanted to ensure the safety and power of the black-silver warship, but it turned out that it was to attract a profound core cultivator. On the 5th day, Ning Cheng finally stopped. It seems like they're about to set out as well. Man Rang saw countless Yi Xing Ocean's cultivators rushing up to the top of the city walls, and even saw several of the city gates opening wide. Boom! The walls of the Moze city, under these spirit stone cannons, were just like paper and immediately burst apart. Hundreds of Yi Xing Ocean's cultivators were directly turned into nothingness by the white light of the spirit stone cannon, while even more cultivators were severely injured by the shockwaves of the spirit stone cannon. Shidu, I can see that the Hua continent only has 3 profound core cultivators. Their strength should be far worse than our side. A thin, profound core cultivator at the top of the city wall, after observing for a while, spoke to the other red-faced cultivator. The Hua continent's cultivator army was densely packed. There were at least 100,000 of them, but they only saw 3 profound core cultivators. Only 3 profound core cultivators dared to besiege the city? This made the Yi Xing Ocean's cultivator army very puzzled, but of course they would be afraid. In fact, the words spoken by the red-faced cultivator were something that most of the people agreed with. Even if the Hua continent's cultivator army was not as good as them, it did not matter if they started a few days later. Man Rang and the other 2 people saw the speed at which Ning Cheng was refining the array flags, and finally believed that Ning Cheng was able to arrange a chain-linked killing array. In order to cooperate with Ning Cheng, they would not let the profound core cultivators in the Moze city doubt them. Man Rang and the other 2 people constantly mobilized the cultivator army to arrange the array formations. Defensive array formations, killing array formations, entrapment arrays, concealment arrays. Yang Honghua, you specifically aim at the 2 profound core cultivators who are not rushing towards us with the cannons. Ning Cheng saw that the other side's 7 profound core cultivators were divided into 2 groups, and only 5 of them were rushing towards them. He immediately made Yang Honghua change the target of his attack. The words of the red-faced profound core cultivator had just finished, when they were once again bombarded by the cannons. Looking at the hundreds of Yi Xing Ocean's cultivators under the bombardment of the spirit stone cannons without any ability to resist, the red-faced profound core cultivator's face turned even darker. He was the first to rush out, followed by the other 4 profound core cultivators. The remaining 2 profound core cultivators did not rush out together like Ning Cheng had guessed, but rather split up the Yi Xing Ocean's cultivators to attack. For the remaining 2 days, both sides spent their time probing each other. But in these few days, Ning Cheng was constantly refining the array flags and arranging the array formations. The Yi Xing Ocean, in addition to a few probing attacks, was also incomparably quiet. A dazzling white light fell like a meteor onto the top of the Moze city's walls, as a powerful spiritual source concentrated in one place before exploding. I understand, these Yi Xing Ocean's cultivators have been refining their flight-type magical weapons for the past few days. They are preparing to retreat. Once they are not a match for us, then they would immediately leave this place. Ning Cheng suddenly spoke. Then how do we attract those profound core cultivators? Jing Ji was most worried about this problem. Do we start now? Jing Ji asked, although he was a profound core cultivator, but at this moment he was even more nervous than Ning Cheng. But if they wanted to use this kind of low-leveled flight-type magical weapon to escape, then they really underestimated Ning Cheng's IQ. He had continuously arranged array formations for 5 days. How could he not arrange a forbidden space restriction? Although other rank 3 array formation masters could not arrange a forbidden space restriction, but it did not mean that he could not arrange one. Although he could not arrange a high-leveled forbidden space restriction, but these low-leveled forbidden space restrictions, he could still arrange them. Seeing that Ning Cheng did not continue to arrange the array formations, several profound core cultivators, and even some profound congealing cultivators surrounded him and inquired about Ning Cheng's progress. Ning Cheng knew that these Yi Xing Ocean's cultivators wanted to retreat. It was not because of what Man Rang said, but because they knew that this battle would not last for a long time, even if they were to retreat in the end. Now that they had obtained the things they wanted, and had completed their task, why would they still be willing to fight? They had already achieved their goal in the Hua continent, and had already planned to leave. As such, there was no need for them to fight to the death with the Hua continent's cultivator army. Wouldn't it be better to wait for everything to be prepared, and then fight again? Man Rang spoke with disdain. These Yixing Ocean's cultivators, although they can fight with the wind, but once they encounter a little setback, they immediately want to return to the Yixing Ocean and even refine their flight-type magical weapons. At that time, the war had taken place at the edge of the Hua continent's Yixing Ocean. The Yixing Ocean had invested nearly 200,000 cultivator soldiers, along with more than 20 profound core cultivators. In that war, they had lost 11 profound core cultivators and nearly 100,000 cultivator soldiers before they were able to repel the Hua continent's cultivator army. If not for the Hua continent having fewer profound core cultivators, the outcome of that war would have been very difficult to predict. A red-faced late-stage profound core cultivator immediately shouted, "Everyone disperse and leave the Moz city to attack. A few profound core cultivators will come with me to destroy the enemy's spirit stone cannon. They only have a single spirit stone cannon. As long as we destroy their spirit stone cannon, we can definitely kill all the Hua continent's cultivators here. Yang Honghua, start firing the spirit stone cannon. Aim it at the places where the Yixing Ocean's cultivators are densely packed." Ning Qing immediately gave the order to Yang Honghua to fire the cannon. "Besides, we do not need to fight with them at this moment. As long as everything is ready, we can immediately retreat. If in the process of retreating, we discover that they are indeed bluffing, then we can just casually kill them. It would only delay us for a few days." The red-faced cultivator replied. Jing Ji also exclaimed, "In just a few days, they have already refined so many flight-type magical weapons, they definitely have a lot of powerful artifact crafting masters." Yang Honghua, who had been waiting for a long time, almost at the same time as Ning Qing gave the order, immediately shot out the cannon. A variety of array formations superimposed on each other, and in the end, the few piles of artifact crafting materials provided by Man Rang were all refined into array flags by Ning Qing. Before, he had regretted that there were too few spirit stone cannons, but now it seems that only one of them would work. Ning Qing nodded and took out 3 array flags and handed them to Man Rang, Jing Ji and Qi Xiuya. "These are the killing array flags that I have refined. When the time comes, the array flags will indicate the correct position." Jing Ji and Qi Xiuya, according to the correct position, can contain the remaining 6 people. Me and Man Rang will first kill one of them in the shortest possible time, and then break them down one by one. With 7 profound core cultivators entering the killing array, Ning Qing had to consider the maximum number of people. If there were fewer people entering the killing array, then his killing array would be able to persist for a longer time. As for the outside of the killing array, Ning Qing had already prepared a lot of defensive array formations. He absolutely would not allow the opposite party to attack from both inside and outside. The only thing that he could not take into account was that, once the profound core cultivators did not enter the killing array, then the losses of the Hua continent's cultivator army would be very large. The Hua continent's cultivator army had the spirit stone cannons. As such, continuing to defend the Moz city would be meaningless. The Hua continent's cultivators are very crafty. If there were only 3 profound core cultivators, would they dare to besiege the city? Did you notice that there was a place where they had arranged a shielding array formation? My spiritual consciousness is not able to sweep in. Perhaps it is some kind of trick. Chapter 177. Although Ning Qing was anxious in his heart, but there was no other way. If he did not kill the 5 profound core cultivators inside the killing array, then there was simply no way for him to support the people outside. Although the array formations arranged by Ning Qing were not very advanced, his concealment array formations were definitely on the same level. If this red-faced cultivator settled down, then he might be able to discover the concealment array formation arranged by Ning Qing. However, he only wanted to destroy the spirit stone cannon. So how could he have thought that Ning Qing had arranged a hidden serial killing array? After the red-faced profound core cultivator hit the heart of the array formation, he immediately realized that he had been fooled. This was not a simple rank 3 array formation, but rather a rank 3 revolving array formation. He immediately roared out, "Don't worry about the array core. This kind of low-level array, No matter where you attack it, it will directly break the array. This red-robed profound core cultivator's morale trembled as he brought out his magical weapon to attack Ning Cheng's side. For a late-stage profound core cultivator to attack Ning Cheng, even if Ning Cheng had a serial killing array, he would not dare to fight against him. While Ning Cheng was directing Jing Ji and Qi Xiuya to pin down the red-faced profound core cultivator, he once again took the initiative to chop down with his axe. The other explosion was caused by Man Rang's sneak attack on the brown-robed profound core cultivator as he shot out dozens of wheel lights. The brown-robed profound core cultivator from the I Ching Ocean immediately brought out a shield to block it. This killing array was controlled by Ning Cheng. As such, it did not have even half a shred of effect on Man Rang, but against the cultivators from the I Ching Ocean, it was actually quite powerful. Another burst of true essence erupted, as this profound core third-level cultivator was directly sent flying by Man Rang. His cultivation was not as good as Man Rang's, coupled with Ning Cheng's help from the side, coupled with the fact that they were trapped in the middle of the killing array. Just this one move was enough to put him at a disadvantage. Ignore his magic treasures. Attack him with everything you've got. Ning Cheng, on seeing this red-faced profound core cultivator bring out his six-bladed gates, which immediately transformed into countless six-dimensional blade lights, quickly called out from the side. Man Rang did not think that Ning Cheng's words would unexpectedly be true. After he easily killed a profound core fifth-level cultivator, he simply could not believe it. This was too simple, so simple that he felt that it was impossible. He had to destroy the spirit stone cannons of the Hua Continent's cultivator army as soon as possible. At this time, he certainly came to understand the reason why his spiritual consciousness was not able to sweep into the place. That was the spirit stone cannon. He had been overly suspicious and seemed to have missed the best opportunity to strike. At the same time that Ning Cheng threw out the array flags, the environment around the group immediately changed as endless axe lights swept out. It was as if a hailstorm of axes had suddenly fallen, densely packed together. From the moment the brown-robed profound core cultivator entered the serial killing array, until Ning Cheng made his move, it simply took less than 7 breaths of time. Ning Cheng and Man Rang had already completed their sneak attack, and had even successfully killed a profound core 5th-level cultivator. For Ning Cheng, this was the result of 1 + 1 being greater than 2. Just as Man Rang blasted out dozens of light wheels to sneak attack that brown-robed profound core cultivator, at the same time, the red-faced profound core cultivator also blasted out with his magical weapon. Ning Cheng did not care about his own injuries, and directly spoke to Jing Ji. Jing Ji and Man Rang will kill that red-faced profound core cultivator, Qi Xiuya will pin down the other two. Man Rang and Jing Ji were stunned for a moment. Ning Cheng had told them not to care about the magical weapon of that red-faced profound core cultivator. Wasn't this just sending them to their deaths? With this kind of three-dimensional six-sided blade radiance coming down, if he was left alone, how could he survive? At this time, Ning Cheng also made his move. He immediately used the angry axe's second form, Tornado. The golden-colored axe shadow in the middle of this axe light-killing intense serial killing array was even more powerful. As soon as Ning Cheng brought out the axe shadow, it was just like a tornado, as it completely sucked in the surrounding angry axe-killing intense serial killing intent, as it solidly bombarded the back of that brown-robed profound core cultivator. Even if the serial killing array only had a little bit of restraint, it could still play a decisive role in the outcome of the battle. Ning Cheng looked at the red-faced profound core cultivator as he directly rushed towards his concealed killing array, and couldn't help but give a dark sigh in his heart. When the two armies confronted each other, the most taboo thing was hesitation. Originally, the I Ching Ocean's cultivator army was in a good position, but because they were thinking of leaving, they were not in the mood to continue fighting. As such, they hesitated for a moment, which immediately caused their formation to fall into chaos. When Ning Cheng was not able to completely block the Thunderlight Halo, he immediately took back his golden great axe, as the remaining Thunderlight Halo directly bombarded Ning Cheng's chest. Ning Cheng was also sent flying upside down, as he spat out a mouthful of blood. But that profound core third-level I Ching Ocean's cultivator had no way to escape from Ning Cheng's first trace, and was directly killed by the angry axe's first trace. This time Ning Cheng had only chopped out a simple axe trace, but the opponent he chose was a profound core third-level I Ching Ocean's cultivator. Ning Cheng knew that he would not be able to kill this profound core cultivator. As such, this axe trace was a message to Man Rang to let him go all out, and that he would forcibly stop him. Ka. Ning Cheng's serial killing array under the attacks of the other 3 profound core cultivators. In just an instant about 70 to 80% of it broke apart, and in just a few breaths, it would completely shatter. While Man Rang and Jing Ji were jointly attacking the red-faced cultivator, outside of the serial killing array was another scene. The 2 profound core cultivators who had not entered the serial killing array had already broken through the defensive array formation that Ning Cheng had arranged. Although Yang Honghua's Spirit Stone Cannon was able to delay them for some time, but if the Spirit Stone Cannon wanted to kill a profound core cultivator, it was simply not realistic. Boom 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 boom. Although these dense axe lights were filled with killing intent, but the damage to the several profound core cultivators was not very big. At best it would only make them waste some time trying to block these axe lights. He knew that once the 2 of them, Man Rang and Jing Ji, chose to block the 6-blade lights, then the result would definitely be that the serial killing array would be broken, while the red-faced profound core cultivator would not be killed. Now that they were inside the serial killing array, if they besieged the red-faced profound core cultivator, then they would definitely be able to kill him, but once the killing array was broken, then everyone would be in the same situation. Wanting to kill the red-faced profound core cultivator would not be easy at all. Not good. There is a low-level Forbidden Sky restriction. Immediately put away your flight-type magical weapons and spread out. Wait for us to break the restriction before bringing out our flight-type magical weapons. The red-faced profound core cultivator immediately felt the Forbidden Sky restriction as soon as he came out of the city. After he issued the order, his speed not only did not slow down, but instead became even faster. At the same time, Jing Ji and Qi Xiuya, under the instructions of the array flags, threw out several array flags, and also brought out their own magical weapons. Start. Almost at the same time that the red-faced profound core cultivator started, Ning Cheng sent out a sound transmission to Man Rang, while he hid himself in a corner of the killing array. His words had just fallen, when the brown-robed cultivator was already killed by Ning Cheng and Man Rang. Dean Man, you first deal with that brown-robed profound core 5th-level cultivator. We will be the first to kill him. Ning Cheng, on seeing the red-faced cultivator enter the killing array, immediately sent out a sound transmission to Man Rang. Understanding that he might have missed the best time to start, the red-faced profound core cultivator crazily rushed towards the Spirit Stone Cannon. Peng peng. Puff. Ning Cheng had been waiting for this moment. He directly converged his golden axe shadow, turning it into an axe trace as it rumbled towards the profound core 3rd-level cultivator. Under the attack of these 2 profound core cultivators, in just a few breaths of time, thousands of Hua Continent's cultivator soldiers turned into corpses. Bang! This brown-robed profound core cultivator had focused most of his attention on Man Rang. As such, he simply did not think that there was still a little essence-building cultivator hiding behind him. Ning Cheng's whirlwind axe shadow directly blew apart his corporeal body, causing him to immediately die in the middle of the killing array. This I Ching Ocean's profound core cultivator on one side had to block Man Rang's full-force sneak attack, while on the other side he had to avoid Ning Cheng's crisscrossing axe shadows from the middle of the killing array. Man Rang immediately attacked that brown-robed profound core 5th-level cultivator, but at the same time as he started, he couldn't help but admire Ning Cheng even more in his heart. Not only was the killing array arranged by Ning Cheng beyond his expectations, but Ning Cheng, who only had the cultivation of essence-building realm, was actually able to clearly see the specific cultivation level of a profound core cultivator. These thunderlight halos and Man Rang's red rainbow wheel collided with each other, causing circles after circles of true essence to burst out with thunderlight halos. Man Rang quickly put down the surprise in his heart, as he once again brought out the red rainbow wheel in his hands, causing dozens of circles of killing light halos to explode out in unison with Ning Cheng's axe traces. Not waiting for Ning Cheng to send out a sound transmission, the 3 profound core cultivators had already taken their positions. This is a killing array. Do not worry, just attack with all your strength. This is just a low-level killing array. Everyone look at the position where I'm going to attack. The red-faced profound core cultivator found that Ning Cheng had unexpectedly arranged a low-level killing array to wait for him, causing him to become even more furious. He was angry at the insidiousness of the Hua Continent's cultivator army, but at the same time he was also annoyed that he was actually afraid of the Hua Continent's cultivator army, causing him to waste the best time. But the fact was, Ning Cheng had already directed Jing Ji and Qi Xiuya to contain the red-faced profound core cultivator, while he once again started to attack the other profound core cultivator. Ning Cheng's actions, Man Rang was very clear, that was, he wanted him to go all out. The more they could kill the profound core cultivators in the shortest possible time, the more advantageous it would be for them. Continuous sounds of explosions resounded in the middle of Ning Cheng's killing array, as the magical weapons of the Yixing Ocean's profound core cultivator bombarded the array heart of the killing array, while the magical weapons and array flags that Jing Ji and Qi Xiuya shot out not only hindered the intensity of the attacks from the Yixing Ocean's cultivators, but also changed the position of the array heart. Shidu, something's wrong, they seem to be waiting for us to come over. That thin profound core cultivator had just felt that something was wrong, when the killing array in Ning Cheng's hands had already been activated and the array flags were thrown out. This profound core third-level cultivator knew that Man Rang was on the side. As such, he did not dare to go all out against Ning Cheng. The red dragon trident in his hands immediately shot out numerous thunder light halos. These thunder light halos, in addition to a very small number of them locking onto Ning Cheng's golden axe trace, the rest of the thunder light halos all exploded towards Man Rang. Ning Cheng's understanding of the axe intent was the most thorough. His angry axe-killing intent had already reached the large accomplishment realm. Under his powerful comprehension ability, he was able to integrate the axe intent into the killing array. One after another, 2 profound core cultivators were killed by Ning Cheng and Man Rang, causing the morale of the red-faced profound core cultivator to almost ignite. Now that Man Rang and Jing Ji were besieging him at the same time, he immediately brought out his own magical weapon, the 6-gate blades. He wanted to kill one of them first. From the time these 5 profound core cultivators rushed into the killing array arranged by Ning Cheng, it had only been a few breaths of time, yet Ning Cheng had already killed 2 profound core cultivators. At this time, whether it was Man Rang, Jing Ji or Qi Xiuya, all of them were sincerely convinced by Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng issued an order, and the 2 of them did not hesitate to execute it. Chapter 178. Jing Ji simply did not have the time to think about it, as he directly brought out his dual elephant pagoda and blasted it towards the red-faced profound core cultivator. He really did not care about the red-faced cultivator's 6-bladed gates. Before he made his move, he had already understood that he was ready to die. Coupled with the fact that Ning Cheng had the upper hand since the beginning, coupled with the fact that this place was within the array formation arranged by Ning Cheng, he believed that Ning Cheng would not let him and Man Rang perish together with this red-faced cultivator. If Ning Cheng really wanted to do such a thing, then he would also accept it. Man Rang only hesitated for a moment before throwing caution to the wind. Once he missed this opportunity, he would not get it again. His scarlet rainbow wheel was stimulated even more frenziedly, bringing along close to 100 wheel rings as it blasted out. At the same time, Ning Cheng also started. Ning Cheng also stimulated his true essence and spiritual consciousness before he brought out a moldy copper coin. This 5 elements treasure fall copper coin. After Ning Cheng obtained it, he had never used it and had been continuously refining it. Even now, he had only refined 3 layers of the restriction and was far from refining all of the copper coins. It was very difficult to bring out the 5 elements treasure fall copper coin. As such, Ning Cheng was not willing to bring out this kind of thing unless it was a last resort. At this critical moment, Ning Cheng no longer cared about anything else, as he crazily stimulated his true essence and spiritual consciousness to drive the 5 elements treasure fall copper coin. The red-faced profound core cultivator's 6-bladed gates had transformed into innumerable 3-dimensional blade lights, which almost completely surrounded the Ning-Ching trio. It seemed that as long as they were given a moment, these 3-dimensional blade lights would turn the 3 of them into mincemeat. At this moment, an incomparably large copper coin with a square hole suddenly appeared. The boundless 6-sided blade radiance immediately paused, and the surrounding strangulation blade radiance space also paused slightly. Man Rang and Jing Ji, who had been suppressed by the 3-dimensional blade beams for a long time, suddenly felt that their bodies had loosened up, and the killing light of the magic treasures in their hands had become even more intense. The square hole copper coin brought out a line that could only be vaguely perceived by one's spiritual consciousness, as it rolled up the 6-bladed gates of the red-faced profound core cultivator, causing the innumerable 3-dimensional bladed lights to stagnate for a moment, before in just a twinkling of an eye, they rapidly decreased. The red-faced profound core cultivator was aware that his 6-bladed gates were about to break away from his control, not to mention stimulating the 6-dimensional bladed lights. This was definitely a top-grade binding magic treasure. After the red-faced cultivator understood this, he frantically stimulated his spiritual sense to take back the 6 blades. If he did not take back the 6-bladed gates, then facing the full-strength attacks of the 2 profound core cultivators, even if he did not die, he would definitely be killed by the low-leveled axe light-killing intent of the chain-killing array. Although Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness was powerful, but it could not be compared to a profound core cultivator. Even if his 5 elements treasure fall copper coin was more powerful, he would not be able to display its full potential. A powerful spiritual sense counterattacked, causing Ning Cheng's sea of consciousness to ache. The next moment he was blasted out. The red-faced profound core cultivator felt that the 6 gate blades had once again become his magical weapon, causing his heart to sink. Man Rang and Jing Ji's attacks had completely covered him. At this time this red-faced profound core cultivator could only stimulate his true essence to protect himself. He took back the 6 blades, but he had no way to counterattack. Although his true essence and spiritual consciousness were extremely powerful, but after exploding Ning Cheng's 5 elements treasure fall copper coin, and even injuring Ning Cheng, it was simply impossible for him to block the full force attacks of 2 profound core cultivators. Bang bang, blood splattered everywhere, as this profound core cultivator was directly killed by Man Rang and Jing Ji. Ning Cheng wiped the blood from the corners of his mouth, and immediately took back the 5 elements treasure fall copper coin, as he spoke to Man Rang and Jing Ji. The 2 of you will kill one of the profound core cultivators, as for the other one, Qi Xiuya will be able to contain him. Saying that, Ning Cheng immediately sat down and began to heal himself. The interlocking array formation was about to be broken, but the most dangerous time was about to pass. Man Rang and Qi Xiuya were incomparably shocked in their hearts. They did not think that Ning Cheng would have a magical weapon that was able to contain the full force attack of a late-stage profound core cultivator. What kind of magical weapon was that? It was simply too terrifying. The 2 of them also knew that Ning Cheng was injured, but this was the most critical time. As long as they could kill the other 2, the overall situation would be set in stone. The remaining 2 Yixing Ocean's profound core cultivators at this moment were like frightened birds. How could they still have even half a shred of fighting spirit? At this time they just wanted to escape as soon as possible, and escape from this terrifying killing array that was about to be broken. The overall situation had indeed been set in stone. When Ning Cheng once again stood up, Man Rang and Jing Ji had joined forces to kill the 4th profound core cultivator in the middle of the killing array. On the Hua continent's side, 3 profound core cultivators were besieging a 5th profound core cultivator, but the killing array had still not been broken. With 3 profound core cultivators besieging a single profound core cultivator, moreover in the middle of Ning Cheng's killing array, it did not take much effort for them to kill this profound core cultivator. This ambush, from the beginning to the end, only took a few dozen breaths of time. Jing Ji, Qi Xiuya and Ning Cheng were all injured. But Man Rang was not even injured, and had already completed Ning Cheng's predetermined goal. Not waiting for Ning Cheng to speak, Man Rang, Jing Ji and Qi Xiuya, the three of them immediately went to intercept the remaining two profound core cultivators. When the killing array opened, the Yi Xing Ocean's cultivators found that their 5 profound core cultivators had disappeared and immediately knew that they had lost. Since the 5 profound core cultivators had already been killed, then how could the remaining 2 people fight? The Hua Continent's cultivator army, under the crazy slaughter of the 2 profound core cultivators and dozens of profound congealing cultivators, in just a short period of time they had already lost more than 10,000 people. Even 7 or 8 of their profound congealing cultivators had already been killed. Fortunately, at this time, the Hua Continent's profound core cultivators counterattacked. The 2 Hua Continent's profound core cultivators were able to pin down the 2 profound core cultivators from the Yi Xing Ocean, while the remaining profound core cultivator began to slaughter the Yi Xing Ocean's profound congealing cultivators. The battle was gradually tilting towards one side. With the continuous roars from the spirit stone cannons, the Yi Xing Ocean's profound congealing cultivators and essence-building cultivators were constantly being beheaded. This battle simply did not have even half a shred of suspense. Ning Cheng did not participate in the battle again. This kind of battle did not require him to do anything. Even if the spirit stone cannons stopped firing, with 3 profound core cultivators besieging 2 profound core cultivators, the outcome of the battle would soon be decided. After an hour, the seriously injured Man Rang, Jing Ji and Qi Xiuya arrived in front of Ning Cheng. They did not need to participate in the rest of the battle. The 2 profound core cultivators and all the profound congealing cultivators had already been killed by them. As such, the rest of the battle in the Hua Continent could be handled by the profound congealing cultivators. Man Rang and Jing Ji were seriously injured under the counterattack of the Yi Xing Ocean's profound core cultivators. Jing Ji's arm was broken, while Man Rang's internal organs were severely injured, but they also managed to kill the 2 profound core cultivators. But the mood of the several people was very happy, although their injuries were very serious. But even if their injuries were serious, they would still be able to slowly recuperate and recover. As for the Yi Xing Ocean's cultivator army that had invaded the Hua Continent, they knew that they would be completely annihilated in the Hua Continent. When the Yi Xing Ocean's cultivator army had set foot on the Hua Continent's territory, no one had thought of such a result, but this result actually appeared in front of everyone. This can be said to be entirely due to Ning Cheng. The spirit stone cannons were brought by Ning Cheng. The array formation that trapped the Yi Xing Ocean's cultivators was also Ning Cheng's idea. Even the array formation was arranged by Ning Cheng. Junior Commander Ning, if not for you, then in the future even if the Yi Xing Ocean's cultivators withdrew from the Hua Continent, the Hua Continent would definitely not be able to recover its essence qi. I, Man Rang, rarely admire people, but this time I sincerely thank you. Man Rang spoke and even bent his waist towards Ning Cheng. Jing Ji and Qi Xiuya were also very respectful towards Ning Cheng. Although Ning Cheng's cultivation was not as high as theirs, but they were sure that in the future Ning Cheng's achievements would be far greater than theirs. After Ning Cheng returned the courtesy, he said, I have to go to the God Wind Academy. I will not be able to participate in the war in the Hua Continent. I will have to trouble the 3 of you. Since the war had reached this point, the Yi Xing Ocean's cultivators in the Hua Continent only had one choice, and that was to escape as soon as possible. Whether Ning Cheng would participate in the war or not, it was no longer important. Junior Commander Ning, I will definitely spread your name to the entire Hua Continent's cultivator army. I will also tell all the people of the Hua Continent, and let them know who was the one who took back the Hua Continent. When Man Rang saw Ning Cheng off, he was still speaking in a loud voice. Ning Cheng did not care about these things. He wanted to go to the God Wind Academy to have a look. Ning Cheng had never been to the God Wind Academy, as he had the map that Man Rang gave him. The map that Man Rang gave him was very detailed. Moreover, the God Wind Academy was not close to the Moze city, so with the speed of Ning Cheng's Black Silver warship, they arrived in just an hour. The God Wind Academy was deathly still. There were not many buildings destroyed. It seems that after the God Wind Academy was destroyed by the unknown forces, the cultivators from the Yi Xing Ocean had not come to this place. Ning Cheng swept out with his spiritual consciousness, and found that everything that had a little bit of value in the God Wind Academy had already been taken away. He also did not see any trace of any cultivators in the vicinity. As for the location of Ji Luofei's immortal cave, Ning Cheng was also not able to find it. After half an hour, Ning Cheng left the God Wind Academy with some disappointment. Since Lufei had been taken away by the white-haired old woman, then she should be all right. As for the white-haired old woman's cultivation, Ning Cheng estimated that she was at least in the soul essence realm. In the face of a character with this kind of cultivation, unless the other party was willing to take the initiative to look for him, if the white-haired old woman did not take the initiative to look for him, then he certainly would not be able to find the other party. Chapter 179. More than 10 days later, Ning Cheng and Yang Honghuo once again returned to the Jia continent's Yi Xing Ocean's inner sea. This place had long since regained its peace. It was as if the battle from before had never happened. Many merchant ships once again sailed through the sea. Ning Cheng secretly sighed at the vitality of the merchants. In just a short period of a month, the traces of countless battles between cultivators had already disappeared without a trace. The Pubu Island was not very far from here, so Yang Honghua controlled the black-silver warship and quickly arrived at the periphery of the Pubu Island. The black-silver warship had not yet approached the Pubu Island, when several cultivator soldiers from the Jia continent surrounded them. Ning Cheng had not even had the time to reveal his identity, when Kong Pingpeng's laughing voice arrived. Not bad, you are doing very well in the Hua continent. Several of the Jia continent's cultivator soldiers quickly gave a salute to Kong Pingpeng. Kong Pingpeng waved his hand to signal the few cultivator soldiers to retreat, as he landed on Ning Cheng's black-silver warship and patted Ning Cheng's shoulder and said, "Those monkeys from the Yi Xing Ocean wanted to make the Hua continent's cultivator army retreat, but were killed by you. Ning Cheng, you have done a good job. It looks like me taking the risk of letting you become a 5-star junior commander was the right choice." "Many thanks, General Kong." Ning Cheng quickly thanked him. "Put this on first, I have already helped you change it to your own name." Kong Pingpeng took out an epaulette and handed it to Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng took the epaulette and asked, "I don't know what the final result was between the Yi Xing Ocean's cultivator army and my 9 continents cultivator army?" Kong Pingpeng gave a smile and said, "The result was exactly the same as what I had guessed. Those monkeys from the Yi Xing Ocean just wanted to obtain a quota for the law's way." This time, the cultivator armies of the 9 continents had suffered a lot of losses, while the Yi Xing Ocean's cultivator armies were also unable to attack the advanced level continents. The result of the negotiations between the two sides was that 400 quotas for the law's way would be allocated to the cultivators from the Yi Xing Ocean. So many? Ning Cheng had thought that even if the two sides reached a compromise, the final quota would only be around 100. He did not expect that the Yi Xing Ocean would actually give out 400 quotas at once. Kong Pingpeng curbed his smile and spoke. "This time the Yi Xing Ocean's cultivators have cut off all means of retreat. Moreover, the Yi Xing Ocean's crucible transformation cultivators are also involved. If these quotas were not given out, then the war was bound to continue, and the 9 continents of the Yi Xing mainland would end up in ashes due to the battles between the powerhouses." A fight between crucible transformation cultivators is not something that an ordinary cultivator army can compare to. In the past, when the two sides fought, did the crucible transformation cultivators not come out? Ning Cheng asked. "That's right. Under normal circumstances, crucible transformation cultivators would not participate in the battles of the ordinary cultivator armies. This time, because of the opening of the Heaven's Way, whether it was the crucible transformation cultivators from the Yi Xing Ocean or the crucible transformation cultivators from the 9 continents, as long as they reached a certain age in cultivation, they would all be able to head towards the Tian continent to have a try. Therefore, this war is somewhat different from the past." Kong Pingpeng somewhat helplessly said. It was obvious that he was very dissatisfied with his own cultivation. While the two of them were talking, Kong Pingpeng had already brought Ning Cheng into the Yizheng battalion's camp, while simultaneously introducing Ning Cheng to the other 3 junior commanders of the Yizheng battalion. All the people found it strange that Ning Cheng was so young, Moreover, his cultivation was also not that high, yet he unexpectedly became a 5-star junior commander. Kong Pingpeng's prestige was extremely high. Everyone in the barracks felt it was strange, but no one asked anything. Ning Cheng, you just came back from the Hua continent, it must have been a bit hard for you. Are you going to choose your own soldiers now, or are you going to take a rest first? Kong Pengpeng saw that Ning Cheng was somewhat absent-minded, and took the initiative to ask a question. The rest of the junior commanders and the Marquis secretly sighed. General Kong really did not have anything to say about Ning Cheng, for him to be so considerate towards Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng really did not have any interest in the matters of the barracks. Moreover, he also did not intend to stay in the barracks for a long time. As such, he quickly spoke up. I do not know much about the Jia Continent's cultivator army. I would like to ask the general to help me mobilize a junior commander. I would like to go back and take a rest. The rest of the officers in the barracks secretly sighed. This junior commander Ning was really arrogant. He even wanted the general to help him choose a cultivator soldier, while he himself went to take a rest. Kong Pengpeng laughed and said, "That's fine, let that Yang Honghua come with me." Kong Pengpeng understood the meaning of Ning Cheng's words. Ning Cheng estimated that he was not particularly interested in the cultivator army. The main purpose of him joining the cultivator army was most likely to be for the sake of cultivation. Ning Cheng indeed had this intention. He simply did not want to stay in the cultivator army for long. His original purpose in joining the cultivator army was to return to the Hua continent. Now the reason why he came back here was to participate in the Law's Way. Once he came out of the Law's Way, he would go around looking for his own cultivation resources. To enhance his strength, he would have to go to the Law's Way to gain insights, and to enhance his cultivation, he would need a lot of cultivation resources. Relying on the resources of the cultivator army, regardless of whether it was enough or not, he was definitely not enough. Kong Pengpeng really had nothing to say about Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng came to his own junior commander barracks. As he looked around, he was very satisfied in his heart. In addition to the area being a bit smaller than Kong Pengpeng's mansion, he was very satisfied with the rest of the place. This place could not even be called the junior commander barracks, rather it should be called his junior commander mansion. Because there were no soldiers stationed here, it was tantamount to Ning Cheng's private immortal cave. In the cultivator army, as long as a person had reached the rank of a 1-star, they would have their own separate residence. Ning Cheng was already a 5-star cultivator. Not only did he have his own separate residence, but his residence was also very beautiful and luxurious. Not only that, there were also 2 pretty-looking female servants who were sent to Ning Cheng's junior commander mansion. For the cultivator army to have female servants to serve them, this was an extremely normal thing. Ning Cheng had already seen it. He even saw that there were more than a dozen beautiful female servants in Kong Pengpeng's mansion. However, Ning Cheng did not like female servants. He had a lot of secrets, so when he was cultivating, he simply did not want anyone to be around him. Moreover, with his character, there was really no way for him to leave a woman that he had already slept with in this place for other people to enjoy. Besides, he had not even done it with Le Fei. How could he give his first time to a female servant that he did not even know? The 2 female servants were sent by Kong Pengpeng. As such, Ning Cheng directly let the 2 female servants return to Kong Pengpeng's general mansion. After Ning Cheng arranged a variety of array formations around his residence, Yang Honghua arrived at Ning Cheng's residence with a woman with the cultivation of profound congealing realm. Nan Yuefang greets Junior Commander Ning. This woman with the cultivation of profound congealing realm did not wait for Ning Cheng to speak, as she took the initiative to step forward and give a salute. Nan Yuefang looked to be in her 30s, although her facial features were not very delicate, but there was a kind of heroic aura about her. The most conspicuous thing about her was her incomparably fiery figure, as she had the standard curves of a woman. If only her face was a little more perfect, then she would definitely be an invincible beauty. Unfortunately, everything had its regrets. Her face could only be said to have regular facial features. On her shoulder, there was a green 4-star shoulder card with the words Junior Marquis Nen Yuefeng written on it. Yang Honghua, on seeing Ning Cheng sizing up Nen Yuefeng, quickly added from the side, "Junior Commander Ning, this is Junior Marquis Nen Yuefeng who has just joined our Junior Commander Battalion." General Kong had asked who was willing to join our junior commander battalion, and only Junior Marquis Nan Yuefong took the initiative to come over. A junior commander battalion is made up of 4 marquis battalions. We still need to continue to recruit soldiers. Ning Cheng thought in his heart, how is this me picking out my soldiers? This is obviously Bing picking on me. Kong Pengpeng had said that he was willing to come, but the result was that only Nan Yuefong came. It was obvious that the rest of the people were not willing. Ning Cheng did not care about whether or not his junior commander battalion would be able to recruit a full complement of soldiers. As he spoke to Nan Yuefong, welcome Junior Marquis Nan to our junior commander battalion. Saying that, Ning Cheng then turned to Yang Honghua and said, our junior commander battalion will be temporarily named as the junior marquis battalion. As for the rest of the soldiers, I will recruit them later. I'm going into seclusion now, so you and young Marquis Nan can handle the camp's matters. Nan Yuefong stared blankly at this new junior commander who had just spoken a few words and then turned around to leave, and was very puzzled in her heart. She had thought that this junior commander would be very polite to her, and would even be grateful to her for joining his junior commander battalion. But she did not expect that he would just casually say a few words of welcome and leave. But this was also good. The reason why she wanted to join Ning Cheng's junior commander battalion was because she had heard that Ning Cheng only had the cultivation of intermediate stage essence building realm. She was already afraid of being harassed by those so-called junior commanders. Moreover, Ning Cheng only had the cultivation of essence building realm, so even if he tried to harass her, he would not be able to do anything to her. Ning Cheng certainly was not in the mood to care about these things, as he once again went into seclusion, but this time he still continued with his alchemy. While he was continuously refining array flags outside the Moze city for a few days, it gave him some inspiration. He felt that the reason why he was constantly failing in alchemy was not because he was not suitable for alchemy, nor was it because his ability to comprehend alchemy was poor, but rather because his cultivation was too low. His cultivation was poor, but when he was performing alchemy, he still used a spiritual artifact pill furnace. His magical weapons were not even at the level of spiritual artifacts, so when he used a spiritual artifact pill furnace as a pill furnace, there would definitely be a problem in controlling it. As a result, it resulted in failure after failure in refining a batch of pills. At this time, his cultivation directly rose to essence building 4th level, compared to when he was at essence building 1st level. Whether it was his true essence or his spiritual consciousness, both had risen by several times. Presumably, even if he used a spiritual artifact pill furnace again, it would not be a problem. Ning Cheng once again refined a batch of rank 1 pills. Returning chi pills, he carefully preheated the pill furnace with his true fire, while simultaneously placed 6 or 7 rank 1 spiritual grasses into the pill furnace in order. After the time it takes for an incense stick to burn, the spiritual grasses in the pill furnace began to melt. Ning Cheng, according to his own understanding, used his spiritual consciousness to slowly separate the medicinal liquid and the residue, and then threw out the residue, and began to fuse with the medicinal liquid. Half an hour later, the medicinal liquid in the pill furnace gradually began to exude a fragrant aroma, causing Ning Cheng to become even more excited in his heart. Even if it was only a batch of rank 1 pills, with the medicinal fragrance coming out, it meant that he was one step closer to becoming a Tier 1 ordinary pill master. Before, he had refined it countless times, and was able to separate out the medicinal liquid, but there was no medicinal fragrance. After an hour, Ning Cheng felt that his sea of consciousness was somewhat tired. This should be caused by the consumption of his spiritual consciousness. Ning Cheng was not surprised. On the contrary, he was happy. He had refined so many batches of pills before, but he had never encountered a situation where his spiritual consciousness was insufficient. Now it seems that it was not that his spiritual consciousness was powerful, but rather he had not even crossed the threshold of alchemy. After the time it takes for half an incense stick to burn, Ning Cheng was finally able to completely control the medicinal liquid in the pill furnace. He was just about to use the pill-pulling art from the foundation of alchemy to bring out the pills, when he suddenly felt that the pill art from the foundation of alchemy was not very perfect. A new pill technique naturally formed in his mind. This pill technique was only effective for this type of pill that was being refined at this time. Ning Cheng did not hesitate to use the new pill art, The next moment 12 perfect blue-colored pills fell into a jade box that he had prepared. Chapter 180. 12 superior grade returning qi pills. Ning Cheng sighed. It was his first time refining pills, and he had already refined 12 superior grade returning qi pills to perfection. This was not because his alchemy level was high, nor was it because his comprehension ability was high, nor was it because he was a genius in alchemy, but because of one thing, the mysterious yellow formless. No one's pill arts were constantly changing, except for him. The reason why he couldn't refine a special grade pill was because he had spent too much time refining the medicinal liquid in the early stages, which consumed too much of the medicinal liquid's medicinal properties and spirituality. Ning Cheng did not refine any other pills. He continued to refine the returning qi pill, which was only a rank 1 pill. That time, when he refined the array flags, he was greatly inspired. No matter how simple something was, when you became familiar with it to a certain extent, it would cause a qualitative change. When he refined the returning qi pill, his spiritual consciousness was almost insufficient. It was not because refining the returning qi pill required a powerful spiritual consciousness, nor was it because his alchemy technique was wrong. It was because he was unfamiliar with alchemy. As the first day passed by, Ning Cheng was busy refining the returning qi pill. The next day also passed by like this, as Ning Cheng refined the returning qi pill. On the 15th day, when the only junior marquis of his junior commander battalion, Nen Yuefeng, came to find him, he was still refining returning qi pills. On the 23rd day, when Kong Peng Peng came to look for Ning Cheng was still in seclusion refining the returning qi pill. On the 30th day, Ning Cheng used less than the time it takes for half an incense stick to burn to refine a batch of unique quality returning qi pills, when he suddenly became sluggish. He even forgot to clean up the pill furnace, and forgot to summarize the gains and losses of this alchemy. After a good number of breaths, Ning Cheng could not believe it and said to himself, "There is no pill art for the returning qi pill?" He had been refining the qi returning pill for 30 days. In the beginning, he was still constantly summarizing the gains and losses, but in the last few days, he completely wanted to refine all the materials for the qi returning pill. This was because even if he closed his eyes, he could still easily refine a batch of special grade qi recovery pills. In these 30 days, his pill refining method and pill condensing method were all different for each batch of qi returning pills. Ning Cheng had already gotten used to it. Every time he collected the pills, the pill art would automatically appear. But today, he clearly felt that he did not use any pill arts to refine the herbs, separate the dregs, purify, condense the liquid, recover the spirit, condense the shape, and form the pill. This process was done in one go, without the use of any pill techniques. He just felt that it was the right thing to do, so he did it. In the end, it naturally formed a batch of energy recovery pills. Refining a batch of qi returning pills without any pill art? This was completely different from what he saw in the foundation of alchemy. The foundation of alchemy was that any alchemy technique, any medicinal pill must be matched with a pill art. Only a good pill art could form a better medicinal pill. Without a pill art, the pill would not have a shape. Without a shape, it could only be called a pill. Ning Cheng took out the last batch of returning qi pills that he had refined, and compared it with the previous batch of returning qi pills. He could feel the difference. The last batch of energy recovery pills had a spiritual nature, while the previous ones only had a medicinal nature. After Ning Cheng refined the qi returning pill for a month, he immediately understood this truth. The qi returning pill that other people refined using pill arts only had medicinal properties, and that was its appearance. But he had relied on the medicinal liquid to automatically form the qi returning pill, without the use of any pill art, but it had a spiritual nature. This was a sign of God. He had heard people say that only a very small number of profound pill masters, when refining ordinary pills, would occasionally be able to refine qi returning pills that had a divine nature. But he was just an ordinary tier 1 ordinary pill master, and yet he was able to refine pills that had a divine nature. This was the difference between the mysterious yellow formless and the other pill arts. He had just started learning about pills, and was already able to refine pills of this quality. Suppressing the excitement in his heart, Ning Cheng continued to refine pills. He was not only refining qi-returning pills, but he was also refining other Tier 1 pills, such as qi-gathering pills and so on. After another month, Ning Cheng finally stopped refining Tier 1 pills. He felt that he no longer needed to refine Tier 1 pills. He did not need to use any pill art to refine any Tier 1 pill. He could also use any pill art to refine a Tier 1 pill. Ning Cheng put away the pill furnace and cleaned himself up a bit. He decided to go to the Pubu Island to have a look, and when he came back, he would start refining Tier 2 pills. Ning Cheng had just opened the door to his room when his spiritual consciousness swept out and found Nan Yuefang and Yang Honghua waiting outside his junior commander mansion. "What are you doing here?" Ning Cheng arrived in front of the two of them and asked in a puzzled manner. He found that Lan Yuang's complexion was a bit ugly. Yang Honghua spoke with a sad face. Half a month ago, in the Pubu Islands Jia Continent's Cultivator Army's Beast Tide War, our junior commander's results were at the bottom. Junior Marquis Nan was ridiculed by people. They said. Ning Cheng waved his hand. He knew that it was definitely not something good. But the Yixing Ocean's war was already over, so where did the Beast Tide come from? What is the matter with the Beast Tide War? You tell me about it. Ning Cheng asked. Nan Yuefang, on seeing that Ning Cheng did not even know what the Beast Tide was, suddenly looked at Ning Cheng speechlessly. What kind of junior commander was this? He did not even know the most basic things about the Pubu Island. In the end, were his deeds true or false? Yang Honghua knew about Ning Cheng's origin and quickly spoke up. The Yixing Ocean has a beast tide outbreak every year. It is the spontaneous behavior of the monstrous beasts, and has nothing to do with the Yixing Ocean's cultivator army. The cultivator army stationed on the major islands of the Yixing Ocean, every year they fight against the beast tide. This kind of beast tide generally does not have any impact on the 9 continents, and for the 9 continents cultivator army stationed in the Yixing Ocean, it is only good and not bad. Ning Cheng understood. This beast tide should be the monstrous beasts that originally existed in the Yixing Ocean. He had wondered before, if there was no war, then where did the Yixing Ocean's cultivator army get their cultivation resources? It turned out that there was a beast tide every year. The Yixing Ocean's monstrous beasts were full of treasures. Whether it was the fur or the flesh, they could all be sold. These things were more than enough for the Yixing Ocean's cultivator army to cultivate. No wonder there were so many merchant ships coming and going from the Pubu Island every day. These merchant ships, in addition to transporting a lot of resources, also carried away a lot of monstrous beasts materials. Our junior commander, because of the small number of people, did not dare to rush to the front. As a result, the number of monstrous beasts that we managed to snatch were very few, and the income was also very small. Nan Yuefang spoke in a very uncomfortable manner. Other people were led by their junior commander, with the 4 marquis battalions and their junior commander's personal guards forming a fortress to attack, while their junior commander only had her as a junior marquis. In the face of the beast tide, she could only follow behind the buttocks of others to pick up some rubbish materials. Moreover, the others did not even want them. "Is that all?" Ning Cheng said. "It was just some monstrous beast materials. Was there a need to put on such a long face?" Nan Yuefang finally could not help but speak out loudly. "Senior Junior Commander, although it is just a small matter for you, but for our Junior Marquis Battalion, it is not a small matter. Do you know what is the main purpose of our cultivator army joining the army? Everyone is here for cultivation. If we do not even have cultivation resources, then why would we even come here?" Saying that, Lan Yuefang glanced at Yang Honghua with a very dissatisfied look. Yang Honghua had talked so much about their junior commander, but the result was that he was such a person. Ning Cheng realized that he had spoken the wrong words. The main purpose of the cultivators in the cultivator army was indeed to cultivate. If they did not even have cultivation resources, then who would be willing to join the cultivator army? He said with some embarrassment, "This year's beast tide has ended. I do not know. Let's talk about it next year. At that time we will have to work harder." Yang Honghua knew that Ning Cheng did not understand much about the life of the cultivator army in the Pubu Island, and quickly spoke up. "Junior Commander, even if the beast tide ends, our cultivator army will often go out to the sea. We go out to the sea to hunt monstrous beasts. if we encounter a horde of monstrous beasts, then the number of us junior marquis really is not enough. This is simple, Ning Cheng said as he walked to the public square in his mansion and raised his hand to bring out the black-silver warship and said, "Leave this in the barracks. The next time you go out, use this warship spirit stone cannon to bombard." Yang Honghua was speechless as he spoke. "Junior Commander, if we had so many spirit stones, why would we use them to bombard the monstrous beasts?" Ning Cheng smiled and was just about to speak when he heard Nen Yuefeng, who was shocked by the sight of the black-silver warship, exclaim, "This is a top-quality black-silver warship. Yang Honghua, is what you said true?" Yang Honghua spoke with a bitter face. "Junior Marquis Nan, what I said is certainly true. It is a fact that our junior commander has a black-silver warship. Why would I lie to you about it? Ha! With this, we would not have to fear the monstrous beasts, nor would we have to fear those sons of bitches who show off." Nan Yuefeng suddenly felt that something was wrong. She subconsciously looked at Ning Cheng and asked, "Junior Commander, are you really willing to leave the black-silver warship with me?" Ning Cheng was going to go to the Law's Way soon. As such, this black-silver warship was indeed much more useful in the army compared to him. Moreover, he also intended to get a higher-grade flight-type magical weapon. Besides, even if he did not have a flight-type magical weapon, he still had the twin heavenly cloud wings. That's right, this black-silver warship will be temporarily placed in your junior marquis barracks. By the way, do you have a storage ring that can hold this big thing? Ning Cheng suddenly remembered that Nan Yuefeng only had the cultivation of profound congealing realm. Moreover, there were many profound congealing cultivators who did not even have a storage ring. If he had known earlier, he would have asked Man Rang for a storage ring. The Yixing Ocean's profound core cultivators' storage rings were filled with the cultivation resources that they had plundered from the Hua continent. Ning Cheng, in addition to taking a few spiritual grasses and a spiritual artifact airship, he also helped Yang Honghua to take a few things. As for the rest, he was too embarrassed to ask for them. "Many thanks, Junior Commander, I have a storage ring." Lan Yuefeng showed off with her hands. Her tone and expression were completely different from when she had just arrived. She had been in the Yixing Ocean's cultivator army for many years. As such, she was always able to get her hands on some good things. Yang Honghua was somewhat puzzled and asked, "Junior Markinen, the spirit stones that this black-silver warship requires is a bottomless pit. How can we afford to use it?" Nan Yuefeng gave Yang Honghua a blank stare and spoke. "Second Lieutenant Yang, you specialize in the study of warships. Does this black-silver warship really require 1,000 spirit stones? When we encounter a small number of monstrous beasts, we can use up to 100 spirit stones. When we encounter a large group of monstrous beasts, we can use up to 1,000 spirit stones to scatter the cannons. This way the range of the attack would be large, and would not cause the monstrous beasts to gasify. You think about it, if we were to attack thousands of monstrous beasts at once, how many spirit stones would you not be able to get back?" As she spoke till here, Nan Yuefeng's eyes were shining, as if she could see piles and piles of monstrous beast materials. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.